And we are live. Hi, guys. This is Tone doing our Sunday chat talk. I have some guests with me that does film like I do, that's going to be sharing their journey with you, some of their ideals and plans on when they do. I'm just trying to make sure this is public. Perfect. This is public. We good. So, ladies, you are welcome to go to my page and share the link on your page. Start a watch party, whichever works best for you, so that your fan base can see you doing what you're doing. Okay. All righty. So I am not going to be playing any music because I own no music. So we are going to let each filmmaker share their journey, share their conversation, and share what their era is for filming. So today we're doing the ladies panel. All right. And Joyce, if you don't mind starting introducing yourself.
Oh, okay. Well, first of all, thank you so much, Tony. Is that how I pronounce your name correctly?
It's pronounced Tone. Like
Tone.
Tone.
Mm-hmm. Thank you so much for doing this, because I think that, not a lot of women and other filmmakers, male, or whomever, they don't get the opportunities to talk about their projects because they're not the top three, and nothing against those people, but I think it's a great opportunity for everyone to be able to discuss their experiences. So thank you, first of all, for doing that.
Oh, absolutely.
And I am so happy to meet both of you. And Tanisha, it's a pleasure to meet you as well. And thanks for joining us. Well, to introduce myself, I've been doing film for many years, film and television. I mostly came from television, but I grew up in the Midwest in Indiana, and I came to California to go to college. And I actually started off going to be a doctor before I went into television and film, completely the opposite of what I ended up doing. And it was very strange because I always loved film and talked about it all the time. And that was how I spent a lot of my time indoors, because, I was from Indiana. So we had like 3 months of summer. So during the winter months, you watched a lot of movies and did crocheting and all of that. So during the summer, I was outside dealing with animals and all that because I was going to be a veterinarian. So I got the best of both worlds. So when I came to California, it was sort of this in the back of my mind, like I knew that I was going to do film and TV because I wanted to go to California. And most of the time, people from the Midwest would generally go to New York, right? And a lot of my friends thought, well, why isn't she going to New York? So I came to California because I wanted to be around all of that. And that's how I ended up getting, my degree in film and TV. And I did my internship, believe it or not, with a company where it was really a great African-American film company that I ended up being on the set of Living Color when it very first started.
Okay.
Now, then, so everybody knows J-Lo was not part of the original cast. I mean, she wasn't. The Keenen Ivory Wayans, I was actually there for the pilot episode. Mm-hmm. That they had. The pilot episode, Tommy Davidson was not on the show. He was a warm-up. And I was just a little PA. And I got the chance to see Keenen and David Allen Greer, and Jamie Foxx was not there yet either. This was the very, very beginning of him getting approval. And as a filmmaker, if you do have pilots on television, and I know, Tone, you know this too, that it has to be approved before it goes to network. So this is where I was. And so it was amazing to see all of this come to fruition and to be a part of all of that. So that was my humble beginnings. And from there on, I went on to work for many, many different networks, and also doing my own thing as well. And I was not this, super success story in the beginning. I mean, I always worked another job because, people want to give this illusion like, oh, that's all I do. No, everybody works a day job. As far as I know, the successful people, you don't just come out of the womb doing this. You have to work to earn a living, and I did that, and proud of it. I learned publicity. I also, worked a regular government job. I did everything and to work my way through college and all of that, and it paid off. And I'm glad that I did all of that stuff. So it helped me be where I am today. And we can, I'll share more later, but that's how I started.
Beautiful. All right, Miss Tanisha.
Yeah.
So I attended the University of Florida for undergrad, and I majored in telecommunications while I was there. So during that time, I knew I wanted to have a career in entertainment business. So I took a couple of production classes, but I was more so focusing on artist management and publicity. So during my last time of undergrad, I had an internship at an artist booking agency in Miami, and they ended up offering me a job once I graduated, but the offer wasn't what I initially thought it would be. So I ended up declining it. So I started a whole new job search. I applied for over 100 jobs, didn't get any of them. Long story short, I ended up getting a job as a video editor and director in an IT company in Gainesville. It was actually a startup, so it was pretty cool. So while I was there, that's when I grew my passion for TV production. And while I was there, I learned so much, but I realized that the more I learned, the more that I didn't know.
Exactly.
So that led me to apply to a graduate program at Savannah College of Art and Design, which I'm a graduate student there now. I always said that I never would go back to school. I was like, I'm never going back to school. I'm never doing it. But once I found that passion, I wanted to perfect my craft, So fast forward, right now I'm a graduate student at SCAD in Atlanta, Georgia, getting my MA in film and television. And I've so far produced 4 short films, and I've created my production company, The Fan Network.
Congratulations.
Congratulations to you both. Well, just to give a little bit of me, since this is going to be kind of like a new film, many of you already are pretty familiar with me because you're on my page and you've been following me since this began. But basically, my name is Tone Brown. I have 2 production companies, HCE Films and Hayden Cinnamon Entertainment Film Studio. And basically, I've been doing this, I'm going to say as a baby, because when I got started, not got started, but how I knew I had the vision for it is you couldn't get me away from the TV. And when I wasn't able to watch TV, I was recording the TV. In them days, it was called cassettes. And
Right.
I would record the television shows on cassette, and I would literally go to sleep to them. So I had like the vision in my brain the whole time. I just didn't know. I got a camera, shame that they gave me one, but they did. And the next thing you know, all I want to do was take pictures and film everything I could possibly do. So I had everybody in the family running from me because they knew if I was coming around, I was coming around to get a camera with a camera. Today, they're grateful because they got pictures, but then they didn't like it at all. And then basically, when I really, my degree is actually in accounting. So I was reading on the business side of this more so than anything. But I just wrote a novel. I felt the Spirit of the Lord tell me to write this novel. I wrote it. When I completed, I developed a good fan base. And one of the fan members actually at the book club said, well, why don't you make this into film? Because we would love to see these characters in film. And I'm like, oh, that would be cool. I shopped it around. Everybody tried to take it, put their name on it, remove me or some sort. And I'm like, I wrote this. Why would I want to just give it up? So when she told me that, I was like, oh, so I went to YouTube. I didn't go to no schooling for this girl. I went to YouTube. YouTube was my school. YouTube. I went to the library, got every book I could find, studying Spike Lee, Steven Spielberg, and taking the knowledge that they have and what God was putting on the inside of me. And then I just filmed it. And once we got it completed, it turned out good. I had the bug. Once I got the bug, I started just filming shorts. Then when that process, a friend of mine saw what I was doing, sent one of his good friends out of California, Hollywood, to come in to watch me film. They saw how genuine and serious I was about it. So they took me on as to be my mentor. And then they flew me out to my Malibu. I was going to say Miami, Malibu. And then for 2.5 years, I trained in Malibu under the filmmaker in Hollywood. And now he's linked me with 11 others. So I call them my 12 wise men, because between all 12 of them, they're really helping me get myself developed and positioned in this industry to be able to do some greater things. And it's been a real blessed journey for me to come in the way I did, because I keep hearing stories on how hard it is to get into the industry. And it is. Don't think I didn't work hard in the process, because sisters, I worked hard. They made sure that even though I looked like I could do what I do, they made sure I knew what I could do or was willing to do, because they actually brought in 47 filmmakers that they want to kind of groom, more or less. Out of those 47s, there's only 3 of them left, and I happen to be one of them. I'm really grateful for that, because they was dropping like flies. So basically now I'm just in the industry, just doing my thing, just trying to film what God gives me, and then, you know, opportunities that I get when other filmmakers got stories that they want to have me a part of to assist with. Haven't done too much in that area yet, but I'll tiptoe in it, so we'll see. And that's basically the nutshell of me.
That's a wonderful story. I think what I love hearing is that all 3 of us have completely different experiences. You know, I did go to school and I did get my bachelor's. I was somewhat in the same avenue as Tanisha, thinking, do I want to go back to school? And for me, in the film industry, and if you do talk to a lot of pros, a lot of them will say you don't really need to do that.
Exactly.
But it is a personal journey. You know, it is what you would want to do. They really go a lot. And again, this is the way it was for me. And is that they go by experience more than the number of the amount of schooling you have.
Right.
I think, but I still think that's important, and I'm glad that you're doing that, and that's the journey that you needed to take, and I applaud you for that, because we do need more people that take that opportunity. Why not? If it's there, why not go for it?
Right, I definitely agree. It's definitely experiences, connections as well.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. And the same with you, Tone. You know, everyone has their own, like you said, because you were out there grinding, that people recognized that grind and brought you in. And I think for me, it was more the traditional route. You know, you go to college, you do your internship, and then from your internship, you get a position. I actually got a position right out of my internship, but I was more or less kind of keeping my feet in 2 different avenues, because like I said, I was working regular things, so I had money already coming in, so I wasn't hungry. You know, I definitely wanted to do it, but I had a way of making a living, in other words, you know, so I really didn't have to just you know I hear horror stories, oh, I had to sleep on somebody's couch and all that other stuff. I didn't have to do all of that because I was already working. And so, but that's okay. So I was able to kind of pick and choose the things that I wanted to do.
Right.
But I did everything for free. You know, I didn't come out of the, because that's the interesting thing that I see a lot of young people now, like when I hire people for projects, or, you know, like they're up from a production assistant process, they're like, oh, well, how much am I getting paid? And I'm like, wait a minute,
Yeah.
experience. And you know, I'm really surprised at that, but you do hear that a lot. People don't have experience, but yet they think, well, you know, I can't make a living. But what I generally do is I will always give them, you know, gas, and we feed everybody and blah, you know, all of that. But it's amazing to me how people feel a bit privileged, you know, when they come on set, and I don't really go for that type of thing. But it's interesting. I did film my last movie in Atlanta.
Mm-hmm.
Which, well, not in Atlanta proper, but suburb of Atlanta, which was really great. It was a great experience, and I'm glad that I did that as well. And it actually garnered a lot of interest from investors and things, and so there's a lot going on with that. But generally, we've done stuff in California, and pretty much it's been like I said, an amazing journey. I don't think I would ever change it. You know, I'm happy with the way that things turned out for me. And I always try to give opportunities when I can to other people as well. And I've met many people, but you know, for me, the people that I've met them through different avenues because I was married at one time. And my husband was a comedian, or I won't say was, he's not passed away or anything, but he actually, it comes from the generation of all the comedians that you know now. Like I know Dave Chappelle, I know Faison Love, I know D.L. Hughley, I know Bell Bellamy, all of those. He was in that avenue. So I got an opportunity to be around all of those people during that time. And seeing them rise into who they're supposed to be, you know. And my ex was part of Bernie Brillstein's company, which was huge. So he got an opportunity to, you know, I got a chance to see it from the script perspective, you know, reading different movies that he was up for, Under Siege and all of that. I got a chance to see those scripts. And they were actually auditioning him for those things, and it was just a really cool place to be, you know. And just a lot of really amazing opportunities that I was in the middle of the room of, that I look back today and think, wow, you know, that was an experience that you'll never ever relive. But I think listening to the both of you, I think everyone brings something unique to the table. And I just love hearing these stories because it just shows you there is no exact way into this business. Everybody makes their own journey. And there is no thing such as an overnight success either. In my opinion, there isn't. I think people, you know, grind and grind however they need to grind, and they get where they need to be, however those means are, you know?
Yeah, agree totally, and thank you for that. But you mentioned somebody I want to give a quick shout out. DL Hughley. Want to give you a quick shout out. Just learned that you have the COVID-19 as a carrier, and you're going through some some physical things. We just pray for you to be strong, speedy recovery, and you're healing through this COVID-19, and get yourself back out there on the grind, bro. Because we love what you do. All right, I wanted to put that out there because you know you brought his name up, so I wanted to make sure I mentioned that and show him some love.
Absolutely, DL's an amazing comedian and a really nice person too. Very nice.
I agree. So Miss Tanisha, go girl.
She has such a beautiful smile, doesn't she?
Does.
Oh my gosh, she's got a beautiful smile.
Hey, we got a beautiful beautiful women panel right here. All
absolutely.
Like,
lucky for you.
I did all ladies at my my second one that I did about almost 2 months ago now. So this is my next one. So when I looked over you guys platform, what you was doing, I was so excited. I like, oh, we got to do this. So I was like, yeah, we need to let them know what the ladies are doing out here in this bad boy. Although I'm proud of my fellow men, y'all doing great. We love you, but you know, we women, so we got to be supportive of each other.
Right. That's right.
For putting this together, seriously, honestly. But in terms of like coming into the industry, it is hard to break into the industry. And like you said, Joyce, there's no just one standard way to enter the industry. Like even with me being in the graduate program, we're different ages. Before coming to the graduate program, we all had our own experience. Some of us had a 9 to 5. Some of us came straight from undergrad. Some of us, this is a career change, so they've never done production before, ever. And they decided this is my first time that I want to do it. So to just remember that everyone kind of has a different background, and just to be open-minded, especially because it's so collaborative, our field. So just to know that, we all come from different backgrounds. We all have different strengths and weaknesses, and we can definitely help each other, along the way. So that's really the cool part about being in this field, and also giving jobs to people who look like us as well. I'm so big on showing Black people in a positive light. None of my films will ever have anything crazy surrounding Black people or making us look, crazy or anything like that. So just being able to give those jobs, even if they aren't paid, because I'm still in school. So even if they aren't paid as a producer, just being able to put our people on the screen in leading roles and allow them to add those roles to their reel, that's just really amazing to me.
I agree. Yeah,
I agree too.
Yeah, I'm like the two of you. I'll stay away from drugs, addicts, anything that makes us look negative. Because our forum from last week, that's one of the things we talked about, is making sure that we, the reason a lot of things that go on, that there's a fear, because there's so much out there that's negative, that they, film roles that we've had that made us look negative, that made us look like we're somebody to fear, or that whatever evil that lurks, they immediately think it's us, because that's how we've been shown from the beginning. So I had said on that one is, I'm a Black woman. I'm a proud Black woman, and I'm always going to cast my lead as Black, but I will always cast, a mixture of different races, creed. It doesn't matter to me, because I love all of who we are, but my leads will always be like me, because my stories are me. I have to write about me, So I agree with you, Tanisha, on that for sure. Okay, so you guys good on what you wanted to share before I start going into questions?
I wanted to say one more thing about what you were just saying, to like play off of that. For me, my experiences have been, I definitely will. I think it's a stigma, what you were trying to say about, we don't want to show the negativity because there's this stigma on Black people, like Black women are supposed to be able to take a punch and all this other kind of crazy stuff.
Because that one I've never heard.
See us. When I say that, I'm saying, yes, and I'll tell you why I said that. Okay. I went to the theater a long time ago, and I went to see Whoopi Goldberg in a movie in the theater, and I think it was called The Burglar or something like that. It was one of her early films.
Yeah, I remember The Burglar.
Yeah, and I was so excited because I really love Whoopi Goldberg, and I got a chance to work with her as well on a project, and she was really nice to me. She's really, really nice. But I saw her in this movie. And in this movie, she was sort of like ended up becoming like a detective, but this white detective that she was working with, I ended up walking out of the movie because in the scenes that I was seeing, he called her a pickaninny on screen. They hit her on screen, and I was like, you know what, I can't support this. And I understood, this is in the beginning of her career. I mean, she was famous, but she was still doing movies. And I was just like, wow, but sometimes actors have to do what they have to do. But I just could not. I was like, I'm not going to support this. I'm sorry, Whoopi, I can't support this. And I walked out on that. And that's what I mean. It's like when you talk about the stigma of how that people see us of other ethnicities, they see us as very strong, which yes, we are. But I'm saying, we're the type that can be, abused in certain ways on screen. And that's what I meant when I said that. Because in this movie, she did get hit by this person, and why is it that we have to see that,
Well, I'm just going to put a positive light to that and just say thank you to Whoopi Goldberg for taking that punch, in whatever way necessary, because of that punch she took, and many other actors and filmmakers in that time doing what they had to do to be able to follow their dream, that today we're able to do what we do, but also Whoopi Goldberg is now part of the Oscar panel to help choose, rising filmmakers to be able to have their work presented through that platform. And I have been saying this for many years, even on Facebook, that the time is going to come that the Oscar is going to look just like the Emmy Awards, the music awards turned out to be, all Black. And there's a lot of wonderful, amazing filmmaker talent as well as actors, and they're about to rise up. And that's what I always say, hey, stick with it, because the dream is real. But it's just a matter of, are you going to fulfill the dream for yourself? Because you do have a due diligence you have to do.
That's very true. That's very true.
So, because we don't want to run out of time, so I want to make sure I get these questions in. These are questions that I've put together over the different forums that I've done that came up through the filmmakers as well as actors and people that have posted on my post. So I want to start out just kind of getting to know you and letting them know who you are. And the first question is, what do you feel is one of your greatest accomplishments in the film industry, or the work project that you have currently done?
Do you want to go, Tanisha?
Yes. Well, for me, I just released my short film, They Love Me Not, on May 31st. So that was a big accomplishment for me. Thank you
And
so
it's
much.
good. I watched it.
Thank you. It was a school project, but I look at our school projects as actual films. We put so much time in it, and granted, the end goal is to get a good grade and to get good critiques from your professor and your classmates. But I feel like, the world should see this. Like I said, we put in so much time. We cast as if it's a real film, real cameras, real people. So why not put it out for the world to see? So I did like this really big premiere on YouTube, and yeah, so that came out a couple weeks ago, and it was a long time coming because we had finished filming in March, and then we were supposed to go back and get more shots, but then COVID-19 came, and then it was just a lot of back and forth, but we were able to put it out, thankfully. So that was a big accomplishment for me because that was my way of kind of introducing myself as a producer. So yeah, that was really big for me.
That's wonderful.
That is wonderful. Yeah, I watched it. I enjoyed it. I thought it was cute. I liked the ending. I just wanted more. I did. I wanted to see, because when she went out the door, like, please, I was like, come on, you're gonna at least give him an opportunity or give her a hint.
Yeah.
And I left me hanging, wanting more to see, will she allow love with him? So that was a good one. Yeah.
Congratulations.
Yeah, everyone was so surprised by the ending. They did not see that part coming. So that was
and the actress reaction was so profound. I was like, oh yeah, she did that. She's like, you my friend, right? Because she didn't say those words, but her actions really spoke it.
right.
So that means you did some real good directing with her performance.
Thank you.
Yes,
and it's funny because my summer classes start tomorrow, and I'm taking a directing class this summer. So hopefully I'll be able to get even better with directing because that's really important. So I'm looking forward to like what I'm going to learn in this class for the next 10 weeks.
Fantastic. Well, hey, welcome to the family.
And that's really good because I have not seen it, but I will make sure I do. And actually, that is a really good point that Tone was making. It's better to show it than to just say it. And that's a really good, quality that you have. And you should continue that in your directing. And I think that's really, really good. Yeah. And so, Tone, do you want to say what you have?
Oh, no, ma'am. This is girl, these people that follow me, they done heard so much from me. It is your time. I'll just throw a little bit here and there, but no, this is for you guys to share because I've shared, honey.
Oh, thank you. Well, there have been many things that I'm so proud of. I mean, many things, but just to be current, I two projects that I have just worked on that we actually created and have gotten distribution. My partner, Brian Shackelford, he directed our latest film, and then him and I co-directed the documentary that we did. I'm so proud of both projects, but I'll mention the first one first, The Color of Medicine, the story of Homer G. Phillips Hospital. And that one I'm so proud of because, again, it was about the first premier all African-American hospital in the world, not in the US, but in the world, that trained all 2/3 of all Black doctors in the world during the time that it was open, from 1937 to 1979. And a lot of people, they're calling it the hidden figures of the hospital world.
Wow.
Because of the fact of what it represented. And the project was brought to me by a gentleman a physician, a renowned physician, Dr. Earl U. Robinson Jr. His father was the first graduate. You know how, like, if you have Harvard University and the very first graduates from Harvard, his father was one of only 30 of the very first graduates that graduated from this hospital. And the people that worked at this hospital and graduated from this hospital have been movers and shakers around the world. Like, one of the graduates was the very first president of the Cancer Society. There's so many people, there's so many stories. You would have to go and watch the documentary to know. It just has numerous accomplishments from African Americans, male, female, just so many accomplishments. So I'm really, really proud of that because the film is distributed around the world right now. But it's so interesting because we had private screenings for 2 years around the world. just from this movie, just private screenings. And people kept saying, when is this going to be available, you know, for us to buy and all that. And we wanted to give it to the public, but we just kept getting offers to have screenings. And it's screened at Princeton University. It's screened at Washington University. It's won Best Documentary for the Montreal Film Festivals and all this stuff. So anyway, I'm super proud of that. And I think for history purposes, that's something that I will always have for the rest of my life, that when I'm long gone, young kids will be able to see that film, right? And adults too. It's so powerful. And then the latest film I'm so proud of, because it's kind of like living your childhood fantasy, because I'm a Nancy Drew fan, and Agatha Christie and all of that. And the only thing I did not like about those things, even though I have all the books, was the no black girl was playing this role. So my partner and I talked about it all the time, and we had done a short film that I directed called Welcome to the Neighborhood, with a young black girl and a young Asian girl who, she doesn't look totally Asian, but she's half Asian, half Italian. And while we were filming that, I said, you know, maybe we should go ahead and try to do our other movie. And he agreed. So we finally did it, and it's out right now on all platforms. It's called Hidden Orchard Mysteries, Hidden Orchard Mysteries, The Case of the Airbnb Robbery. And I love this film because we have a beautiful brown-skinned black girl that's the lead. She's the detective. And her best friend, who's Asian and Italian, they both are the little town detectives, and they're going around solving this big giant case that the police can't solve. And it just put us in such a good light, because I think it gives young girls and boys an opportunity to dream, you know, that they can play any role. They don't have to be a basketball player. They don't have to be a football player. They can be, you know, and they can be a detective, but, you know, in a different way. They don't necessarily have to be a police officer. There's nothing wrong with that. But it just gives them that world that they can go and explore, because I got that opportunity. And I mean, I couldn't wait till a new Nancy Drew book I could, you know, purchase, you know, at the store. And I have the entire collection, and I have all of the Sherlock Holmes books. And I just felt like, why can't a black person play those roles? Like what Nate was saying. And that's what I did. And I'm so proud of it, because, like I said, it's out on DVD. Well, it won't be out on DVD until July 16th, but it's already out on all streaming platforms everywhere, and you can watch it. And people just love these two girls. And I'm so proud of those films. And it has opened doors for other projects, because these people love the film so much that they want to see a second and a third one. So we're in the process right now of in development, but we're actually going to go into production.
Will you do that like a series?
Yes, an installment already for that. And I'm still a horror film too, so I love all that stuff too. But those two are the most recent things that I'm super proud of, and it was a lot of work, but I'm really happy that they turned out well.
So. That sounds great. Horror, huh? Well,
girl, please. I'm a total horror queen, and the thing is, the ideas that I have. I can't say the titles yet, but the titles are already out there with the investors, and they can't wait. They said, when are you going to get those done? And I'm like, you know what? We have to, I mean, it's like in a queue, because when you're writing and doing everything, it's a lot. But I'm kind of demented like that, where those ideas come to me, and these ideas came to me, and these people love them. So I'm like, why not? You know, why not do it? So we're going from squeaky clean all the way over here, but not anything that puts people in a horrible light or anything. And we actually want a black female lead in both of these films that we're going to do. So, but also I'm proud of the fact that these, the Hidden Orchard Mysteries are diverse. But there are definitely strong African-American leads, but we have everyone in these films, which I wanted to do that, because, you know, we don't want to come across as like we're not doing that. I mean, I know other people don't do that for us, but I think it's good for us to be fair as well, and to have diversity. And so that's why we definitely make sure that we include other ethnicities in all of our films. So.
Well, that's always a good thing. I mean, because we, you know, even though it's stating Black Lives Matter, it's not that other lives don't. It's just right now, our particular race is the one that's being in the experience of the brutality. So that's why the
Absolutely.
communication is strongly on Black lives. But we do understand that all lives matter. We just want the world to understand that we're here. We're not
Mhm.
going anywhere. And we do matter. And we just want you to know that we just want that stance for us now so that we can live a quality life just like anyone else and not walk into any fear or driving down the road because you see a flashing light or the car sitting to the side and you feeling that emotional feeling of, okay, are they going to stop me because they happen to see my skin? You know,
Right.
yeah. So it's understood. But yeah, just wanted to put that out there that no, we're not trying to make anything small about any other race at all. We love more than any race there is, in my opinion. But hey, that's just my opinion.
And no, it's funny because I know whenever I talk about things, people ask me, I always use this analogy and it makes sense to people and they go, oh, I never thought of it that way. When you watch television or movies, you don't question that there are these, people who are white in these roles, whether they're underwater, outer space, or whatever. But I said all African Americans want to do, and the way I look at the scripts that I write and the projects that we do, I put Black people in all types of situations. They're underwater, they're in outer space, they're in the 1800s. There's just so many things that they have experienced that people think we haven't experienced, but yet we have. We're right there with everyone else, and those are the ways that I feel we should be represented. I had a script that I wrote, and it's actually still represented. It hadn't gotten made because it was kind of expensive to make. But have you ever heard of the Gersh Agency, Tone?
I have not.
Oh, okay. Well, they're a literary agency here in California, but they represent some huge clients. And again, talk about war stories. And I don't know if I should talk about that yet because you may have that as one of your questions.
I do have a format here.
Then I'll wait then.
Okay, sounds good. All right. But thank you for all that input. It's really great stuff. So I want to kind of keep it really more so on the filming side of it. So that way we, because we have so many people that are watching right now, but are going to watch this, at their convenient time. I want this to be so educational of understanding of filming, our behind the scenes of filming, our process, just so that they can get the knowledge of your journey, your beginnings to where you are today in your accomplishment. That's the bottom line goal for this whole panel conversation. Okay, now here's the next one. What is the basic foundation you want to build your brand up on?
Interesting. Well, because I have my own production company as well, Flat Cat Productions, and my brand is more like I just mentioned. I don't have a one-off genre that we work in. For me, because I don't operate that way, I can do comedy, I can do drama, I can do documentaries, I just tell stories. So it can go from any realm. And I prefer that. I don't want to get locked into where people know me just from this type of film. And the reason I say that is because I had the opportunity to meet Carl Gottlieb, and Carl Gottlieb wrote Jaws. And when I met him, one of the things that I found so interesting about him was, which a lot of people might not know unless they go and look it up, he wrote Jaws, which all of us have seen, right? And then he wrote The Jerk with Steve Martin. People are like, what? It's completely the opposite. But it's because he has that in his mind, so he's not limiting himself to one genre. And so that's how I want my brand to be, is that I can go in any avenue I feel like I want to go. I don't want to just be known for just this one thing.
Okay, sounds good.
To be honest, I plan on having a really long career in this field. If the Lord spares my life to where I'm, living past 70 years old, I plan to still be doing this. So I definitely have 5-year goals, 10-year goals. As of now, I definitely want the Fat Network to just be like a feel good, network about Black people for for Black people, by Black people. I really want to focus on music. So in 2018, I was APA for the BET Hip Hop Awards in Miami Beach, Florida. So I definitely want to direct music videos. I love documentaries, so I want to create music documentaries. So I'm definitely going more so in the music side of television, because I kind of was interested in artist. Thank you. I was interested in artist management and publicity. So that music side has always been there, and it's still there now. So I definitely want to get into directing music videos and things like that. So as of now, especially since we're in quarantine, I've been like drafting up proposals to send out and treatments to send out to people, because that's definitely a field that I want to take over. And that's definitely something that I want my network to be based around. And then eventually I'll get into, feature films. I definitely still want to do short films as well. I realize that my specialty right now is rom-coms. It's just something that I'm really good at. Okay. But in the future,
okay, I apologize for interrupting. For those that don't understand what you just said of that,
explain what rom-com.
Share a little bit about that, if you will.
Romantic comedy.
That is a unique genre that a lot of people, especially Black Americans, are not familiar with.
Yeah, so just love stories that are funny as well. That features love between two people, whatever like that. So that's definitely what I want to focus on. Well, that's what I'm focusing on now, because I've realized that that's just my strength. As far as writing, I can kind of relate to it, going through my own, love stories and things of that sort.
Yeah.
I love romantic comedies because I love to laugh. I love a feel-good story between two people, especially when it comes to love, So, yeah.
That's beautiful. Well, I'm going to have to chime in on that a little bit with you, because you and I are talking the same genre. That's when I want you to kind of expand. I have a mixture of both of you. I feel in my brand, because I've done 33 short films and they all diverse. I've done a musical West Side Story type. I've not done horror. Let me correct myself. Mm-hmm. I've done a mystery that could come across as horror, but it wasn't really my intention of horror. And then I've done series, which I ain't for. I'm doing it now because that's one of the projects to do, but I've learned that it's not my area. But now I'm gearing towards, because I have so many amazing love stories. The next one we're doing now is called Devastation. It is a feel-good love story in spite of the title, but it's very unique. And then I have the next one that I'm going to be doing called Unconditionally Us. So that's going to be the story of a full-figured woman who has love, so you can show the difference of, we as big women, we like love too.
But that's wonderful. That's what, that's amazing. I think that's wonderful. That's what you should do. And like you said, you feel comfortable with that, and that there are so many, like you said, rom-com stories that don't get seen from our perspective, right? And why not? I don't, because Black love is beautiful, so why not?
To put it on screen without the struggle story, right. We see Black women in rom-coms, we end up finding our love, but we have to settle for something, we have to get the man with no job, or, just something that's just not ideal for us, so I definitely want to change the narrative of Black women being in romantic comedies on screen. So yeah, we get the love, but we also get the love that we deserve. We don't have to settle for anything, because in real life, we don't have to settle for anything. So let's, translate that to on screen.
Oh, that's 100 right there. That's 100 right there. That's exactly the goal that I have in mind for my brand as well. So, hey, girl. Okay, now the next question is, tell your process to do your project. How do you cast? What's the quality you look for your projects? And then talk about ethics and what's important to you as far as work ethics in your projects and the people you bring on. Okay. If I need to repeat anything, just ask me. I got it written.
Oh.
Do you want to go, Joyce, or
you want to go first?
Oh, it doesn't matter.
Oh, you can go first.
So for me, when it comes to casting, I definitely use Actors Access. I look for referrals from fellow classmates and friends, because my spring quarter, which was from January to March, that was my first quarter in film school where I was actually creating films. Mm-hmm. So that was really fun. And I had friends who took those classes before me. So I was able to look at their films to see, okay, who did they use, as their actors, and ask them, like, how was she or how did he do on set? Also Facebook. Facebook was a great tool for me, just putting out casting calls. And I'm a part of like 30 production groups on Facebook. So putting those casting calls on Facebook and allow them to email me audition tapes, send them the slides so that they can say those lines for me. And like I said, actors access is always good as well. But I definitely, in film school, like we have tight deadlines, so we have, for short films, we have maybe about 3 weeks to cast, to write the script, to basically do everything, to location scout. Mm-hmm. So it is great to have those referrals from friends and classmates. If they've already had those actors and actresses in their films, you can kind of see if you don't have time to kind of do a full-on casting call. As far as you said, what up was ethics?
Mm-hmm. Quality that you look for, and the ethics. What ethics is important to you before bringing them onto your project?
Well, quality. I just want to make sure that they are good at what they do. You don't have to be, because I'm still learning as I go. So of course, I'm open-minded or whatever like that, but definitely just make sure that they know what they're doing. Even though it is a student film and it is free, you're not getting paid, you're going to get food. But I do want to make sure that you actually can act, because leave it up to everybody. Everybody's an actor. Everybody's an actress. All you have to do is put it in your Instagram bio, and that's what you are. So I like to see, like, okay, this is a student film, but I need to know that you know what you're actually doing. As far as ethics, somebody who has a good reputation, because in this industry, if you don't do your part, if you don't, show up on time, you get the boot, you get sent home. So I try to carry that also even in my student films. Pretend you have to act as if this is a real set, because it is a real set. People are actually going to see these movies. So don't think just because, she's just in graduate school and she casting me, I don't have to be on time, I don't have to do my job. No, you do, because you can get replaced as well.
Snap.
That's right.
Those who make sure they're on time, making sure they're honest. Just make sure that everybody's transparent. And as a producer and director and writer, I definitely try to be transparent with my casting crew as well. I don't want them to think, I'm holding any type of information. If I do make a mistake or an error, hey, this is where I messed up because of X, Y, and Z. Here's how we can fix it and make it better. So with me being transparent with them, I expect them to be transparent with me as well.
Amen.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. That's wonderful. For me, I've had the experience of, because of course I'm an old dog, so I've been doing it for a long time. But I've been fortunate to work for other people, on their independent projects. I've also been fortunate enough to work on network projects, and that's a whole different game. They don't play, and they will fire you. And I've been in positions where I've had to fire people. When I worked for BET, I had to fire people. I did not want to do that, but as you stated, Tanisha, time is money and money is time. And a lot of times I think what's really great about taking those journeys is it teaches you how to do what you're doing now. Like you're in school and you definitely have a great work ethic already. And I think if you get an opportunity to work for one of these big entities, it will also enhance what you know. But it's not necessary, but it helps because you see how Viacom and all these people operate. Right. So if you have to go and deal with them on your own independent level, when you want to take them projects, this is how it needs to be done. And so for me, having those experiences of working for other entities, for PBS and all these different places, they expect you, as you say, you got to be to work, you have to be there on time, you have to do your job. And if you're working camera, I've been like with Tone, I've had to work camera when I first started, and you're live. So you better make sure that camera's not jumping, this and that. I mean, there's just all these things that you have to take into account. So all those things over the years have helped me when I started doing my own projects. And with that, in the hiring process, I started doing online. You know how, like you said, we're in COVID-19. I was doing that years ago, where I did everything online. And I interviewed everybody online. I had them send their reels in online. And the only reason I did that and started doing that, because I would go into the studio here in California in Santa Monica, and it's just so time consuming. And I needed to get things turned over quicker. So I started doing it on the internet. And it's funny to me when I see it now that
I know, right?
when I was doing that years ago. But it's great though. I'm glad they're doing that because it definitely saves you a lot of time. It saves you a lot of money. You don't have to get in your car and drive anywhere. Those people don't have to get in their car and drive anywhere. So anyway, with casting, you get a chance to see these amazing actors, and you get a chance to give people opportunities that other people might not have had. It's also interesting to work with established actors in SAG-AFTRA because there's a lot of paperwork that has to be done, and you've got to deal with the Producers Guild and the Writers. I mean, but you have to do it because when you start doing it for the big boys, that's where you got to go. And it's better to know it or go through the fire than not to go through it. So in the process of the projects that I've worked on for myself, doing all of the casting and everything and getting the right people, from there, having directed on my own, and then also working with my partner who's my director now. I let him direct more. I come in and executive produce and produce because he's such an amazing director that it helps to elevate our project. But I can direct as well. I just have, and I used to direct music videos a long time ago, and it was a great experience, and I loved it. I will direct when the time comes, when I'm feeling it again. But for right now, I'm stepping totally into the producing and all of that. And that process, it is, like I said, timely. And as you stated, Tanisha, you only had a certain amount of time, and that's exactly still how it is. Even if you have pre-production and development, once Tone knows this, once that time clock starts, you got to get everybody there on set. Everything has to start moving, and you may only have 15 days to film, or you don't get this long turnaround, so you really have to have everything together. And while you're dealing with the cast, you still have to get your crew, and the crew, you have to have them, you have to be as hard on them as you are with the cast. You don't want people coming in and not doing the best that they can do. You have to deal with attitudes on set. I mean, is it okay for me to be real, Tone? Is it okay for me to tell it like it is?
It's your story.
Okay, because there have been some interesting situations on set. Sometimes the DP will have problems with the director. Sometimes the DP will have problems with the producer. I could tell you some horror stories. But at the end of the day, no one ever sees this. They only see what they see on the screen. So they don't see all of this stuff behind the scenes, which is how filmmaking is. But I'm so glad to have gone through all of those things because it makes me a much better producer and director and writer. I don't tolerate a lot of stuff anymore. If someone looks at me sideways, I'm not dealing with it because I don't have the time. So, and especially when you are dealing on a different level with money, you don't have time for that. That's why a lot of times you'll see people and people are like, God, these people are so, they're kind of abrupt because they've been through that fire and they know, because you're held accountable. And I know when I used to work for BET, when we would do Comic View and all these different shows, I was over all of these people. And I was told, if this show does not make it on air by 5 p.m., you're fired. That's how it was. And you have to deliver. They don't play. And when I worked for E! Entertainment, it's the same way. They expect you to come in. And that's why, even for the smallest job, when I got hired at the E! News, the woman sat me down and told me, she said, the reason why we're hiring people that have 10 years of experience or more is because when you're on the red carpet and all that, we don't have time for you to try to figure it out. We don't have time for that. So we don't care what the lowest position is. We want someone with 10 years of experience in the lowest position. That's crazy, but that's how they work. And they're like, because if something goes wrong, we need someone that's not scared to go on and get it done. And a lot of times, when you're just starting out, you don't know what's happening. You're trying to figure things out, but that's how it is. And the more experience that you can gain from working for free, like you said, working on as many projects as you can. I don't care how many you do. You keep doing them because you're going to experience something different on each one, and you're going to be able to take those experiences and take them with you when you start working on these other things, you know, even if it's your own independent projects, because eventually, which I'm sure you want to get to, people are going to be paying you lots of money to create these films, and they're putting all of their investment into you. Then they want it on the screen, so they expect things to be a certain way. And so that is what I have experienced, and that goes into answering your ethics question too. I don't really tolerate a lot of things like I used to. I've just got, and it's only because of experience that I don't, and that's where I'm at.
Okay. Well, for me, I was just that way from the very beginning because I'm such a hard worker. I just knew that, the order of my mentality. If you were going to come on and work with me, you need to be a fit. And I understood that not everybody was going to be a fit. So my process was simple. I did do social media. I did Actors Access. And then of course I did, recommendations. If other actors, knew somebody, I'll check them out. And I'm also like you, Joyce, where I've been doing auditions online for a long time. So
Yeah.
it was no issue for me when this all came to play. But what I like about doing it that way is it gives me a chance to actually have a conversation with the actor or crew member, whoever I'm talking to give them a general idea of who I am, where I'm coming from, and make sure that we're a good fit, as well as knowing about their talent. I'm going to say I kind of pick talent last. That's just me, because I like to know what type of ethics I'm dealing with. Are you like so entitled that you're not going to listen to me? Mm-hmm. And as a female, and as a female director or producer titles they give us, are you okay working with a woman that can give you instructions? So I'm very strict on pay attention to the details and do your own due diligence. Mm-hmm. Those are the two things that, I basically look for. And so the casting part, I'll do whatever it takes to make sure that it gets to the right person to get to me. And then ethics is really just a bottom line for me. I'm like you, Tanisha, I will send you home. I don't care if you the crew or if you the actor. If you come on my set and especially if you crew and you're not willing to work, mm-hmm. and you want to yak, instead of, if I brought you on to be my DP, I don't need to be touching that camera. Right. If I brought you on to be my script supervisor, then I don't need to be going to tell you, asking you, was that consistent? Right. You need to be on top of your game, and you don't need to be having conversations, Google-eyed because you're working with a star or an actor that you are impressed with. You need to be focused and concentrated, so when I pay attention to those things. Mm-hmm. And so if you're hired or even you're coming in volunteer, I don't care whether you get paid or not. It's a job whether you get paid or not. So my thing is, come and just do what you asked to come in to do. You're inboxing me, you're posting on my page, you're emailing me, you're begging, giving you opportunity. But then when you get the opportunity, you mess it up. I was going to say something else. I apologize.
No, I know what you mean.
But, so I don't have time to play those kind of games because I know that I can get done. And if I studied every aspect of this business, so I can write it, I can film it, I can direct it, I can edit it. Mm-hmm. I know how to distribute it. So I can, from beginning to end. So I like having a team, but I can be that team. Right. So if somebody come in and can't do something that needs to get done, I do know it well enough to step in and do it to make sure we meet our deadline. And I did that on purpose because I had heard so many filmmakers talk about how, editors try
to hold them hostage, with their footage and things like that. Mm-hmm.
And then that also that, actors don't come back sometimes. Or if they come back, they got attitude. Or when they have attitude, they're spreading that attitude towards the other actors. And the next thing you know, you can't get nothing done because everybody's got this chaos going on. And I am so strictly, I will not do chaos, period. And that's the thought that I have on my process, and I don't even concern myself if you're SAG or whatever, how long you've been doing it. It's what you're going to bring. Are you coming in to this project with me to be an asset? Are you coming in to be a liability? And I can't do liability because I have my brain going too many directions trying to take care of everything else. I don't have time to spend it in this area of chaos. Does that make sense?
Oh, absolutely. I was from the same school as you. I've done everything from running cable to running camera in studio and remote, from editing, from casting, from doing wardrobe, from doing makeup. I had to be when I was working with Whoopi, we worked on this special she was on. I had to help the makeup artist because she had to leave. So I was, and when I was trying to touch her face, Whoopi said, "Joyce, I'm not going to break. You can touch me." But, you're just so young and so nervous and and she was so beautiful. It was a great time. But again, even on our independent projects, I do everything just like you, Tone. And the one thing that I learned and I thought was great that Steven Spielberg said is that I know all these jobs and I can do all of these jobs. So I'll know when you're not doing your job right.
Exactly.
So from the writing, from, like you said, from location manager, from doing all the paperwork. Sometimes you have no choice but to do it all because you have a certain budget and you save money by doing it all, by wearing all the hats. And I've been on both sides. And I actually, I prefer doing everything myself because I know it'll get done. But and I used to scoff at different projects I'd worked on with other directors that, they were spoiled. They're like, "Joyce, I need trailers for all these people." And I'm like, "You don't need trailers for these people. They're only here for a day. Let them come in." Because, when you're line producer, you're responsible for the budget. And sometimes you got to cut things out, but I think it's great to hear all of these experiences because we all have had them and people need to know these things. And it scares me when I hear young people coming out of school thinking, "Oh, it's not that big of a deal." It's not, it is. It's like you need to know your stuff and you need to take a free job as seriously as a paid job because a lot of free jobs will lead you to a paid job. I tell people that all the time when they want to scoff at doing stuff for free. I would jump at an opportunity to do a project for free. And again, like I said, I was taking care of myself. So I didn't rely on my film production to pay my bills, but it didn't matter. That gave me even more freedom to work, late at night on people's projects. I loved working on other people's projects, until I was in a position where I started getting paid for that, so.
Yeah. Yourself can be a lot on you, but it's so important. I think it makes for a better director and producer when you know how to write, when you know how to edit, because like you said, you know how to do the job. So if someone isn't doing their job, they're not doing it. So I love about film school because they teach us everything. They focus on pretty much everything. You can take electives if you want to specialize in something, if you want to write more scripts, but we still have all those same core classes. So we learn how to write scripts the right way. We learn how to edit. Don't know how to do that already. Color correct, produce, direct. Like I said, I'm taking my directing class that starts tomorrow. So, because I have those some classmates, they have their specialty and they kind of complain about the other classes. And it's like, I understand that you may not want to specialize in that right now, but you never know what the future may hold. You may need that skill. You may have to take that job, even if you're not an editor. You may have to take that job in editing, to keep your lights on. You never know when those skills can come into play. So knowing how to do everything, I really take pride in that for sure.
Amen to that.
Yeah, that's really a smart girl. You're very smart to think that way.
Mm-hmm. And sometimes, it might take an entry level position in one of those trained school classes that you're taking that can get you in the door towards what you really want to do as well. So that's very good, Miss Tanisha. That's smart. Okay, so the next question we have is, how do you select the project or the script that you choose to film?
For me, I've been very blessed where projects have been brought to me. I haven't really had to go out and look for too many things. But that is also based on people seeing my previous work. But I tend to like to do my own projects too, and doing my own projects have led to other projects as well. But that's kind of the process for me. And sometimes though, it's like when people bring me stuff, if I'm not feeling it, I don't want to do it because I'm not going to put my 150% into it. I really have to want to do it. And I've just always been that way. I don't really like doing things just for the money, even though, you know, I've earned my living doing that. I still try to be specific because that's just how I'm built. If I don't want it, if I have no interest in it, I just can't put my entire life into it. I just can't. And some of these projects, like even like the color medicine, we worked on that for years because documentaries take a long time. And you have to really want to do it in order to really be a part of it, you know. And I did another one called the Discovering Mary, where I went to Montana about the Black African-American lady that drove the stagecoach for Wells Fargo. Another one, I did it because I wanted to do it, you know, and I loved doing that project. So it's just
you basically choose by what you feel and what you know you want to work on by your heart. Is that what you're saying?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, got you. All righty. And Miss Tanisha, how do you select your projects?
I feel the exact same way. I have to be 100% invested and passionate about something in order to give it my all. Because I would hate to do, you know, half the job just because I'm half interested in it. So, I mean, as of now, I've written, produced, and directed all of my films. So when it comes to coming up with a script or an idea, I really just it's based off of experience, of course, you know, things that I've been through and I've gone through. I make a list of things that I want to create. So like even in school, if I have to create a film for a certain class, I'm like, let me go into my archives of ideas that I already have. But it's really based on just how I feel at the moment. And like I said, like Joyce said, you have to really be passionate about it because like you said, documentaries, they take years. You know, sometimes movies can take years when it comes to pre-production, development, you know, production. A lot of times that timeline can be years long. So you really have to make sure that you're invested and you're passionate about the project because you don't want to wake up one day and say, I'm not interested in this anymore. Because that's a lot of money on the table, you know?
Yeah, that is. And time, your time that you invest, like you look up and years have passed. And especially with documentaries, you have to really want it to come to fruition, you know, because it is very time consuming.
Because even with my films that I just put out, you know, I had other classmates, they wanted to put their films out as well. But they just became really impatient. They're like, you know what, I don't even want to put this out anymore. I'm just going to move on to my next thing. But with me, I was so passionate about my project that I refused to give up on it. I'm like, no, I don't care if this takes 6 months to put out. I have to put it out because this is what I'm passionate about. I never got tired of it, even through all of the editing and all of the revisions. Like I'm pretty sure I watched that film over 100 times. I'm pretty sure. And I never got tired of it because I was just so passionate about it. So that passion is really, that's what's going to drive you, you know, to complete your projects.
That's true. It does.
All right. Well, that's good stuff. All right. So the next one comes up as talk about the value of your social media, what you look for as you do your research for actors and casting, and your research as far as your project, as well as promoting it once it's completed.
Well, for me, social media has been amazing for the last few projects because the color medicine, how that even came to me was the doctor who saw me on social media and saw that I'd done this was when he reached out to me to do the color medicine. And even before that, another person, a friend of mine who had a really amazing project called Sunshine Noodles and Me, she saw me on Facebook and said, oh, you know, she reached out to me for that reason as well. And then when you were talking about passion projects, Tone, and there's this film that is definitely going to be done. And I made this connection through social media. And as you know, like I said, I'm kind of different, you know, where I do different things. I'm doing a rom-com where a cat is the focus.
Really?
Yes.
Oh my God.
But the funny thing is this cat is very famous because I found him on social media, but not because he was famous and because I wanted to do the movie. Like I said, I'm an animal person. And you ever heard of Sticky the Kitty? Look up Sticky the Kitty.
But my brain, because I got little wildcats I feed now. So my brain went into how you gonna get a cat to do what you need to do in
That's the funny part.
You get them to do what I want them to do in real life.
Exactly. You need a cat wrangler, right? Well, no. The thing is that he is the backdrop to this rom-com because it will be based on a true story of this couple who found this real cat, but they were married, and we're actually doing like a Hallmark rom-com, but the cat is the reason why they came together. But this is a real story that actually went viral, where this man saved this little cat that was glued to the street, and it went and became viral and was all over the news and all around the world. And he started writing children's books, but his name is Chuck Howley, and the cat is called Sticky the Kitty. You can look it up. But we're doing a rom-com on that. And that was totally through social media because he reached out to me because I had liked his, just liked the story, and I had no intention to do anything with it. I just love animals. So when he saw my post, he reached out to me and said, so you're a film producer? Do you think you'd be interested in doing something with us? And I came up with this rom-com idea, and they love it. So it's in the queue for us to make, and that was through social media. And then our latest films, both films actually, Hidden Orchard Mysteries, people are, like you said, we do our virtual premiere online, and social media has been huge in helping to get the word out about all of those projects. So I love social media for that reason,
Okay.
Yeah. All right. Social media, I look at it as a business card. It's so important to keep your social media channels up to par because you never know who's watching. Like literally, even with this chat, Miss Tone, she was watching me and found me, and you just never know.
Same here.
Right. You never know who's watching you. So I definitely believe that social media is a powerful tool, especially in the creative world. I'm actually in the process now of revamping my social media sites just because you just got to make sure that it's up to par. You want your brand to align with what you do in life. And some people, I've talked to other production professionals, and some of them have mixed, views on it. Some people think that it's not that important. You have to do the work in real life, which you do, But as far as getting the word out about your projects, that's how I honestly got the word about my project, was through social media. Finding certain actors and actresses on social media, seeing their reels, So I think it's a powerful tool, and I think if it's used for good, it can really take us far in this industry for sure.
I agree. I totally agree.
Yeah. I didn't nobody know who I was until social media.
Right.
That's great.
And it makes the world smaller, It makes the world smaller. Like I said, on Instagram, you can really put, hey, I'm an actor, and not to say that you are, but you're putting it out there so people may believe it, you can upload demo reels, or you can upload yourself speaking monologues. Even if you aren't a professional actor, that's something you strive to be. With the help of social media, you can get the word out there about what you do. So if it's used the right way, it's definitely a powerful tool. I love it. I use it every day. I've been using it since I was like 12. So I think it's a powerful thing to use.
I like the description you've given it, that I will be stealing, just letting you know right now, is that business card. I always called it I always called it and said it was more like it can be your brand, how you put your brand out there. Because I know when I got started, nobody know who I was, and I didn't really look at it as a promotional thing. I was just having fun, and I was just sharing my journey of what I was doing, and people got excited and started supporting and following the journey. There's so many that's been there at the very beginning of when I was just a know nothing, and and they heard my cries, they heard my whining, my complaining, my happy stages, all the way to what's happening now in my life. There's so many that's been there from that very beginning till it became some type of a social brand. But now the value that I see in it now is it does help me with my my projects getting out there for people to know what's there. It helps me to to get connected with Amazon, Netflix, where they were able to help me get distribution for projects that I have. But also it's helped me to find actors. And, and one of the things that I always like to say for actors, because, I love actors. I think they're part of that foundation we have to make our projects work.
Mm-hmm.
So I personally, I can't say this about all filmmakers, but I personally feel like they're a value and they need to know that they're value. And I try to put everything in my projects together, not only just to have a film done, but also to put something in place for them to build their brand upon. So I always recommend actors to, you use your social media respectfully. I know there's all kinds of stuff in the world goes on. You want to post on there. Fine, use it for that. But at least create a fan page that tells us who you are. Because your fan page at this stage in the game is your audition now. You may not even have the opportunity to meet with me or talk to me. Because if I look at your fan page and I see that you fit my character, I might call you up or have my assistant call you up and say, hey, she wants you for this project, for this character, or I may audition. It all depends, because sometimes there's enough information to know whether you do or you don't. And I use social media as an elimination process. Because if you got stuff on there that I know don't align with the kind of personality I am, I know you're not somebody that I can work with. And if you're a person that's got a lot of negativity on your page, where you joking, criticizing, and you're putting other people down, whether they're a filmmaker or whatever, then I know that you're going to come and cause some kind of chaos. So I pay attention to those things on what you're posting, because what you're posting, is just my opinion, is what you are. Because you're telling who you are through your social media, whatever your belief systems are or not. Because I have this one actor that does send me a message all the time that he wants to work with me, but I already know there's no way I can work with them for their different views that they've posted, that I know that we will definitely clash, because I ain't in for their view.
That makes sense. And sometimes I think people and like you said, I agree with you with social media. You can tell what people are like, and a lot of times they're masks too, because a lot of those people aren't really putting forth who they really are either. But that's none of our business. But whatever you put on social media, it definitely will get seen. So you do want to put your best foot forward.
And then keep in mind, that's what the audition process is for, process of elimination. So if they got a mask, you're going to capture that mask at some point. You can only hope that you capture that mask before they come to your set. But that's not always the case. Sometimes, and I always tell people, we're all actors in some way. So we're acting just when we're auditioning and we're having a conversation, we're acting. You just have to, figure out a way how to work through your discernment for that person on what their quality is in relation to how you run your life, to your business, so you know that they are a fit for you. And and I tell actors all the time, you are in audition with me at the beginning, doing filming in the middle, and even at the end after it's all over it, because I'm watching everything. Because if at the end there's some issue that I recognize, I'm not calling you back. So it's not it's not going to be you coming back for another role. I'm just not going to do it. So I pay attention to everything, because there's value in what I'm doing, and I take what I'm doing serious. And I really would like to, I humbly respect everybody and what their dream and their accomplish is, but I also understand that not everybody I'm going to fit to, and they're not going to fit to me, because we all comes from different walks of life. So and I don't mind you being different than me, and you stand for whatever you stand for. It's your perspective of how you bring it, disrespecting others because they don't feel like you feel or think like you think, and then now you want to be a chaotic person. That's what I care about. What you believe and stand for, is it going to affect the people that I bring you in association with, that prevents me from getting something done? Or are you going to be a person that's going to cause so much problem with the project that I can lose my investors, or I can lose my position where what I've worked so hard doing my own personal due diligence to get accomplished what I've gotten accomplished. So all those things come to play. So, you know, when an actor sends me their information or they send me a message talking about cast me, you know, I'm looking at, well, who is this I'm going to cast? And if you're not a good representation of yourself or the brand you've chosen to put out there, I'm not going to consider you. I can't, because you're going to cause me to lose what I've accomplished. And this dream is real for me. And I've worked just too hard for you to come in and mess it up.
Yeah. It's funny how recommendations and how social media really makes a difference. And not even just social media, but just who you are. As you say, be who you say you are is what my director partner, Brian, always says. Be who you say you are, because it will make a difference, like you said, when you're on set. And it's interesting because I've had projects come to me, like I worked on a short film back in 2011 with an East Indian director, and he's a great friend of mine. We're like brother and sister now. And the people I met on his set are still friends of mine. And one of those women on that set recommended me for another film that I just finished that's going to be coming out called Estilo Americano. I work with everybody. I try not to, you know, designate or whatever. And it's an amazing, powerful film about Mexican Americans and Latinx Americans. The crew on that film was amazing, and and the director, her name is Miriam Khrushchev. She's Dutch, and she's the director, and her producer is Dutch, Ellen. And I could probably mess up Ellen's last name, but she has Mike TV Productions worldwide. She has offices in London and here, and also in, I think, Amsterdam, London, here, and Amsterdam. But anyway, I would have never gotten that project if my reputation had been bad, like what Toné is saying. This woman thought of me and said, hey, I'm going to bring Joyce. And we were actually filming Hidden Orchard Mysteries down in Atlanta when I got the call from them saying, hey, would you like to work on this film? So you never know, like you said, what people are watching and seeing how you are. And again, I did this project back in 2011. And this woman is reaching out to me to do this. And we finished it, and it's a beautiful film, you know, and it hasn't come out yet, though. But just the fact that your reputation precedes you, so you want to make sure you treat people properly. Like, I'm so happy to have met Toné. I did not know her. She didn't know me, but we both met one another, and I will definitely be supporting her. And also you, Tanisha. That's how I am. I want to build my team of people that I know nationwide and worldwide, so that you may look up a year or two from now, Tanisha, and I'll be calling you saying, hey, Tanisha, you want to come and work on my film? That's how I am. I do not forget. That's the Leo in me. I keep my people close. So if you're kind and you're a great person and you're talented, I will be using you or working with you in some form down the line.
I would love that. But that's why I also love word of mouth referrals, if possible, because I know sometimes, you know, we may find somebody there random, we don't have any mutual connections. But if you do, I feel like it's so important to, you know, ask someone, hey, how was this person on set? Because yeah, they're perceiving their way on this way on social media, but how are they in real life? So if I can get that word of mouth referral, that saves me a lot of time, because somebody can be, you know, a great actor and an amazing actress, but they're full of drama, you know, they're entitled, they're bratty, they think that they're the actor, but they also think they're the director too, you know, so it's just...
I hate those people. I'm sorry, not hate's the wrong word. I hate working with those people. I don't hate them. But yeah, people who won't respect the director. Because we've had that on set where they'll walk up and say, and I'm sure, Toné, you've had that, Toné, can you come over here for a minute? Let me try to tell you, you know, how to do your job.
Yeah.
No, I don't get that.
You know what? Well, when I'm telling you, I can only speak from experience, but you know, sometimes you do get that because some people, like you said, Tanisha, and we won't say any names. Some people who are up here, they feel, hey, you brought me on, you know, and I do have a name. So if I want to tell you something, you should listen. Yeah. And then you've got people who won't say anything, but you do get those people, you know.
Yeah. It's very interesting.
In this industry, you're always going to have people that know what they know and they want to share what they know. And sometimes, they don't give you the opportunity to really see what you know and they want to put their input. I get that. And I'm okay with that, because we work in a full circle as a team. It's just a matter of the way you bring it.
Yeah.
Like when I first got started and nobody knew who I was, of course, you had, actors or crew members that want to tell you, oh, the shot would be better over here, but what I do now, and I think that's what's eliminated a lot of the issues that could arise or that may have arrived or stories people have told me. When I start with the team that I start with, whether they're the actors or the crew, I project what my expectations are. I communicate and I let them know, I am the filmmaker. I wrote this. I know what the vision is for this. I'm giving you the script. These are your lines. Please come as what I'm casting you for. Come as the actor. Do not come as the filmmaker, the director, because I'm already going to do that role.
Right.
So I communicate, sometimes I do it in a kind of joking way, but firm enough that they understand, let's go ahead and make this the best project we can. I want to come in and do my part and be my part. I like to believe that I've earned the respect from actors and or even crew people. I hope and like to feel like I've earned the respect enough that they're going to respect me and the project when they're on the set. And my experience have been that they are coming that way because, I give enough information for them to know that I'm genuine, I'm serious, and I'm going to complete what I started, and that they're being a part of a project they can trust and know that, oh, she go follow through on this. So I'm going to give her my best. That is what I've learned just in my interaction with people. They want what I want, and I try to respect that. I want actors that I can work with that's going to come through for me. And I just turn it around and I understand they want a filmmaker that's going to come through for them, not only believing in them, but trusting what they've also learned. They've got actors, crew members, just like Tanisha. And yourself, Joyce, you've gone through these educations and training for years. You've worked on different projects, different sets. You've learned. So I purposely in my mind try not to blow off what they have learned.
Right.
I know it is a value for them, just as what I've learned is a value for me, so that we can have a good quality relationship as we try to move forward in not only completing the project, but if we choose to come back together at a later date. Now, I feel like this. I will love you as long as you allow me to love you. But if your attitude switches and changes or fades away from me, then I allow it to do so because I trust in my God. He knows who's supposed to be in my space and who's not. So if they flip the script on me and change on me and no longer show that value or respect of who I am at the beginning when they asked and begged to be a part of the opportunity, then I accept that's their choice because I believe in treating people at their level of awareness. Their awareness changed. And I have to respect that change and let them move on in the direction they need to go. Because if I try to love on them and hug them and they're not willing to receive that, then they're going to affect me. And then I'm no longer functional. I'm no longer productive because I'm caught up in their emotions instead of what God called me to do. And I hope that makes sense.
Yeah, I think that's an interesting way of, I think that's wonderful that you do that. And I've been in that situation as well. But there's times too that you just can't, I mean, sometimes it's unavoidable, dealing with certain people. But like you said, one thing that I do appreciate and that I learned throughout the years of working with different people, certain people who are on TV today that I really respect because of how they treated me, like Cheryl Underwood. I worked with her because we did a show, which is probably, I don't think it's the reason why she got the talk, but I think it was part of the reason why she got the talk. Because when I worked for BET, we did a show called Holla. And we had every celebrity, every Black celebrity, Anthony Anderson, everybody who was anybody during that time, they all came through and sat with her on this show. But what I really liked about Cheryl Underwood was she took myself and the director and I think the other producer into her, you know, her realm, and she treated us like family. And she actually, you know, when we were done filming the season, she brought everybody gifts and everything. I mean, she was just the nicest person to work with. And I never got an opportunity to work with her again. And I was happy when she got the talk, but I will always respect her for that reason, because she taught you, like you said, how to treat her. I've heard her tell stories about some of her, you know, comedian friends that weren't really on her side when she was getting her success. But it shocked me because she never once had attitude or anything. I mean, and you know, I just would work with her again if I had the opportunity. She's such a sweetheart, you know, and I wish her all the success in the world. But those are the types of people, when I've worked on different sets of other people, was where I picked up my behavior to how to treat the people who were on my sets. And I have, you know, I had to learn. Sometimes I had to dial it up and sometimes I had to dial it down. Like you said, Tone, some people, you know, they don't show who they really are until they're on set. And then at that point you have to let them go, but you have other people to replace them. And then, even if you tell people up front exactly how you want it to go, and I do feel that I come across very confidently, people still bring it sometimes. It happens. Not in all cases, and it's rare, but it does happen, and you just handle it when the time comes, you know.
Shut that thing down. No.
That's right, girl. Sometimes that's how it is. And once you do that, and I was going to tell Tanisha, from a music producing, being a music producing director, when I first started, I had this huge team of people that I worked with, and I was the female, and that was one of my goals a long time ago, was to be one of the first female Black music video directors. And I was on my way, and you know what stopped me? I got married. Anyway, that's a whole nother conversation.
Yes, that
kind of moved me in a different direction. But in the beginning, that was my goal. I was like, I want to be the first, or one of the first, you know. And I had all the dancers and all the locations and all the crew, and it was mostly a male crew. And they did not want to give me respect at all. And I had to show them, you know, because I'm a nice person. I come across very animated and nice. I don't have that mean look about me. So they thought, oh, you know, she's not gonna. And honey, I had to really throw it down. But when I did, I got my respect after that. And what was so funny, when the video was done, it turned out so well that all of them were I even had somebody that tried to say that they had directed the video down the line and tried to take credit for my work. And luckily, the person that they talked to called me up and said, somebody sitting up here in my studio, somebody saying that they directed this video. And I know they didn't. You know, and another thing too, when you're on set, you always film yourself doing what you're doing aside from the camera, like your BTS. Make sure you have somebody filming you while you're on set, because people will go and try to take credit for your work. They will.
I don't get caught up in none of that. They can take all the credit they want. My name.
Girl, I know this was a long time ago.
Yeah.
And, you know, I don't deal on that level anymore. But at the time, you know, it is a cutthroat business, and people are who they are. I mean, They do, you know. But I'm glad that you don't experience that. I'm glad.
No, I'm not. I didn't say I didn't experience it.
Oh.
That is not what I said.
Okay.
I said this is how I handle it.
Got you. You're right. But we're on the same page. We're on the same page.
Pretty much. Yeah, just a different way of communicating it. That's all.
Right.
But the bottom line, as far as men, I heard what you said. Men are very good in wanting to teach you and help you, because that's their natural. It's just a matter of your communication with them. Don't always look that they're going to try to cutthroat you. Because a lot of times they're really trying to help you. It's just their communication sometimes is different than our communication, because you have to look at, when you're even in business, when you're dealing with men, it's still a relationship, even though it's not a romantic relationship. It's still a relationship where respect has to be kind of earned in a certain kind of way. You're not going to get away from that in any kind of business, but especially this business. It's just a matter of your communication and how you allow yourself to come across for them to trust you. Because that's what I've learned, because I worked with 12 men. And they are fabulous. But what I learned from them is the communication. You know, they are looking for a way to respect you coming into this industry, doing what they've been doing for many years, whether it's passed down, learned, earned, whatever. So you just have to, you know, decide on how you're going to present you as your brand of communication to give them the door open to work with you, or even to open the door for you. So be very mindful and very careful in your words on how you communicate in this industry when you're describing or talking about other people. So that way you don't put yourself in a position that they're going to block you because of something you've said.
That's very true. I mean, I've had different experiences.
That's all. And the actions that you pursue. So you got to be a really good listener and a really good discerner on your relationship and your communications. What I would like to do, because we got a lot of questions and timing. Tanisha, I don't remember. I kind of got lost myself, so I want to apologize to you in making my little points. Did you get the opportunity to answer this question?
What was the question?
That's what I thought. Hold on, let me go back to the question. Do you remember what the question was, Joyce?
When you were mentioning about how we went about with our casting, I believe it was, and how we, and how we went about doing our production. I thought that's what the question was, about how you go about casting. I thought she answered that.
It may have been, but it kind of went and said.
Because you went first, didn't you? But that was on
we went in so many different directions. I don't know. And out of respect and the value of her communication, I don't want her missed out on our over communicating when we're talking. So I'm trying to keep everybody a balanced platform in their communication. But let me just put it this way, Tanisha, from what you heard between me and her, what would you like to add in that? I'll just put it that way instead of worrying about the question.
About the casting, or just in general?
Let's just go general for right now. And if there's something that I run across that I might want to like ask you a question to elaborate on, I'll throw that in if that's okay.
In terms of communication, it is important to communicate effectively because, you know, we are on set for long hours, 12 hours. People get aggravated. People start to get their roles, like I said before. So just remembering, you know, your tone, and just, you know, even if you have somebody on set like a PA, and this is a big lesson that I learned this year while being on set, because even with my film, They Love Me Not, that I just released a couple of weeks ago, that was the largest set that I have been in charge of. So I was the director and a producer. So I had to learn how to kind of control my set. You know, because people get antsy. People are waiting for their turn to film. You know, they're in the holding area. You know, they're asking questions. And, you know, then I had a PA who wasn't doing his part, and I had to let him go. So just, you know, making sure everyone knows their role, one. You know, having a PA to kind of, you know, calm everyone down, because really that's not my job. I'm the director. I'm with the DP. I'm trying to get the shots together. I don't have time, you know, for everybody else, and they're getting antsy and they're answering 1,000 questions. I just don't have time for that. So just making sure you have those people in place to communicate, you know, that for you, for sure. And as far as communicating with men, I don't mind getting help from men on set. I just don't like when they assume that I don't know something without asking, you know, hey, do you know that? They just assume you don't know, so they feel the need to give that unsolicited help. You know, that's something that bothers me as a woman. But outside of that, you know, a team is a team. So you just kind of have to communicate, you know, hey, I know how to do this. I got it, you know. And that kind of just helps me with that situation, for sure.
Okay. Now, I'm going to skip over a couple of questions because we kind of answered some of the questions within that question. Filming has its highs and its lows. How do you know filming is what you were meant to do?
Well, I know filming for me, it was meant for me because, like I told my story at the beginning of the chat, I applied to over 100 jobs when I first graduated college. I didn't get any of them, but the one job that I did get, it literally fell into my lap. So I was a story reader for a company, and people were coming all the time, you know, and my job was really just to, you know, keep them busy while they wait to get their service, basically, in the store. So one guy came in and he was like, "Oh, what do? You know, you look young, whatever, whatever." I'm like, "Yeah, I just graduated from college. I majored in this." He was like, "Oh, cool. Well, I work here. We're looking for directors and editors. You know, you should email this person X, Y, and Z." Long story short, I ended up getting a job there. I didn't have to apply. I just emailed who was my boss at the time, my future boss. Came in for a tour. We had a quick interview. You know, nothing too formal. And the next day, I had a job. So literally, it just fell into my lap. But I was on a journey of just searching because I knew I wanted to do entertainment business. I've wanted to do entertainment business my entire life. It was just a matter of narrowing it down because the industry is so vague, and you can even in production, there's still hundreds of jobs that you can do. You know, so it was for me. It was just I had to narrow it down. So when I got that job, I just knew in my heart that this is what God wanted me to do. And even with me working for an IT company, I knew I didn't want to work in IT. So I'm like, okay, I want to do production, but I still want to do that entertainment side, you know, music videos, you know, working with artists, or even movies and short films. So that's what led me to, you know, apply for a graduate program at SCAD. But just letting that, once I had that job, that's when I began to get passionate about production. That's how I knew, like, this field is for me. It was just so fascinating. You know, the lights, the cameras, the microphones, you know, helping talent. Like, it was just something that I really felt in my heart. So that's when I knew. And that was 3 years ago.
Beautiful. All right, Miss Joyce.
Well, I'll try to keep it short because I don't want Mr. Tone to kick me out of here.
No, I won't do that.
I'm just joking, my dear. But for me, my very first experience of thinking about being creative, I was a child and my family used to have like tape recorders. And my sisters and I, which we still have to this day, old cassettes of us reacting, like acting out scenes, even though I never wanted to be an actor, which I still to this day don't ever want to really be an actor. I that's just not who I am. But we used to reenact all these scenes. And it was really funny. And when I listen to it now, it's like I was just so, you know, always creating stories. And then from that point, when I was 10 years old, my teacher had everyone write a short story. And I didn't know at the time it was like a contest. And so I wrote this short story about this haunted house and this girl and all this. And I ended up winning the writing competition for that at 10. And my parents, when they came up to the school, the teacher's like, "Oh, Joyce is a phenomenal writer. She's going to be a great writer one day." And my mother was like, "Yeah, right." You know, my parents were just like, didn't think anything of it. I don't know why. And then from there, I just always, like Tone was talking about, watching television. I loved watching movies on TV and going to the movies. And I love the old Disney movies. I mean, some of the Disney movies can be a little, you know, but That Darn Cat and The $1 Million Duck and stuff like that. You know, I was just a big kid, you know, and those things helped me throughout the years, watching movies all the time. That, like I said, when I, you know, came to California, being from the Midwest, they always don't want you to go into the film business because it's so iffy. So my parents are like, "You better do something more stable." So I'm like, "Okay, I'll be a doctor." All right, whatever. So as I started that process, I could not help but want to do the filming stuff. So that took over because it was always there. And that is why I pursued it. And I'm so glad because I love every aspect of filmmaking, from writing to, like you said, the directing. Just for me, the biggest thing I enjoy is seeing my stories exactly the way I pictured it in my mind up on the screen, and to see people in the audience seeing it. Like, that is like the biggest high, is to be able to have gone into the movie theater and sat there watching people watch your movie. I mean, that's like the biggest reward ever, you know, and even on television, you know, it's just, that's why I went into this, because I love making other people happy and being able to have a form of escapism, because the world we're living in right now, it's very difficult and stressful. And even though there's some amazing positive things that are coming out of all of this, I think for young kids, in order for them to dream, they need to be able to have that escape. They shouldn't have to think about all this stuff. Not all the time. and that's kind of the way I feel about it. They should be able to escape. And that's where I'm here to help them do that.
It's so funny how life comes back around, because even as a child, like when I was like in middle school, I always had a camera with me, like the $100 cameras from Walmart. I was always taking pictures and videos with my friends. I think Tony, you said something about that earlier, or maybe it was you, Joyce, but
it was me.
Yeah, you were always taking videos, and people hated it. I was always taking videos and pictures of people, and they literally hated it. Now they like it because my middle school friends and classmates like were on Facebook, and they can go back and see those pictures, and they like it and appreciate it now. But back then they didn't. But I was always that person that had a camera. I was always editing videos. I was an SGA in high school, so I had to make, promotional videos and I was always doing it. I just didn't think about it as a career. So
exactly.
So now that I'm older and they came back to me, I'm like, it makes sense. I've literally been doing this my entire life just for fun. And they always say, when you think about what you're passionate about or what you want to do for the rest of your life, think about the things that you want to do, that you would do for free,
right.
fun, really enjoy. So the fact that came back to bite me, it's just crazy to think about. I've literally been doing this since I was a child. So to rediscover it, just a few years ago, is just amazing to think about.
Well, I think for you it was always there. You just didn't think of it as a viable thing, but it was always a part of you. And that's why it's not, even though you said you just kind of discovered it 3 years ago, you've been doing it. You just didn't think of it as a legitimate career until 3 years ago, but you've always been doing it.
Yeah, and I still kind of struggle with that. I think I just recently stopped struggling with thinking like, this can't be a real, not to say it can't be a real career, but just thinking like you can't make a living off of it. You won't make a lot of money, yet. It's going to take time. But when you're favored, anything can happen, some people it takes 20 years. Some people it takes 5 years. Some people it takes 2. But the minute I started to become immersed in this field, that's when opportunities began to roll in. That was another like confirmation that this is what I'm supposed to be doing, so you just have to, people, they talk down on you sometimes or your career, and they think, oh, that's not really a real career. But it's the same people who binge watch all these shows and movies on their couch for the entire weekend, when they think what you do isn't a real career. So that's really crazy to me. But but when God places you in a situation, He'll never lead you astray. So I can't think, oh, I'm not going to make any money, because I had a whole job making it. So for me to think that, I just had to let that mindset go, because you can definitely be successful in it early, and also still do other things on the side. Even if you aren't making money in this field, like you said earlier, Josh, you can have like a 9-to-5 doing something else. It's okay. I know people who have other careers and they do filmmaking on the side, so that's also an option as well.
Yeah, it's funny. I went to this thing that Ava DuVernay was the speaker, and she took questions after this event, and this girl stood up and she asked her, she said, I want to know, how did you start making movies? How did you do Follow Me and, her films? And Ava said, honey, I worked a job and I took my money from my job and I filmed these movies on the weekend. That's how I started. And I mean, she was just simple as that. And that was it, because she was doing PR and she used that money to fund her films. And that's what she did, But I wanted to ask Miss Tonay, because I was very impressed with you when you reached out to me. I'm like, oh, I wanted to find out, because I'm like that. I research everyone. And the same with you, Tanisha. I research everybody that reaches out to me, because I just want to know who everyone is, so that I can, know what they're talking about and feel what they're doing. And I was very impressed with both of you, but I know you're still in school and you're doing a fantastic job. I'm just with Miss Tonay, what the drive that you had to do what you have done is amazing. And I just applaud you for that, because again, we all come from 3 different disciplines, and I think it's amazing for all 3 of us to be here talking to people, because someone is listening that fits one of us, right? And I just think for you to be able to learn what you've learned and then to take it and have such positivity attached to it, and not put down other people, and not, you even bringing us on to your chat. A lot of people, they're just so myopic and so focused on just them, they would never think to do anything like this. And I just want to know what drove you to be who you are today and why you chose
who I am.
Yeah, I mean, because you have developed into the person that you are right now. What drove you to do that?
I'm going to give you the answer my mama would give. And she would say she's been that way her entire life. It just spilled over into what I'm doing. I'm a lover. That is really the bottom line. I give it all to God because God is my foundation to everything I am and what I do. I love people. I am a lover. If, like I said earlier, if people that come across my path in some kind of way allow me to love them, they're going to get love in some form. I may not be the one hugging you, kissing you, touching you, whatever, but in some form, I feel like I want to exude love through me. And love is giving and love is sharing. It's not holding anything back out of any evil or any particular reason or way. So that's the best way I can say it. The platform, I've been wanting to do a Hollywood roundtable for years, and a lot of the people that I'm bringing on here have been part of that communication that we reached out. That we were planning on just getting going to a meetup from different walks of life, do a roundtable, and then just talk like we're doing. But my schedule has been so crazy the last few years that I haven't had the opportunity. So this came about because I'm like, shoot, we in COVID. Everybody's at home looking to do stuff.
Right.
So let me just reach out to them and just say, hey, are you willing to come up on and talk? I didn't want it to be an interview. I didn't want it to be me being some kind of host trying to do this, do that. I just wanted us to just have the freedom to have a conversation, to talk about things I wish people were willing to talk to me about when I got started. Because when I got started, didn't nobody want to help me. Matter of fact, majority of the people, because I was living in Atlanta, but the majority of the people were actually trying to purposely sabotage me. Why? I'm not sure. I don't care.
Yeah.
I just knew what to work because I knew God had a path for me. I just had to figure out the path that God wanted me to be on so that I can get done what He's put in my heart to do. Let me tell you this before I forget. I am from Indianapolis, Indiana.
You know what? That's right. You are. I thought I saw that in your Facebook profile.
Yeah.
So we're both from the same city.
We're Midwest.
Oh my God. So now, where, if you don't mind, where were you in Indianapolis? I mean, because I think you might be younger than me, so I don't know.
I ain't gonna be shouting out my age, but
we don't have to do any of that.
Look.
I went to what schools did you go to? No, what schools did you go to? Because then that'll tell me a little bit.
I am a Blue Devil girl, a proud graduate of Shortridge High School.
Okay, now I went to North Central.
We didn't like you. We were always
the Panthers.
North Central. So yeah.
But I do know of Shortridge.
Yeah.
What about Broad Ripple? You know where Broad Ripple is?
Well, everything's all of my records said Broad Ripple now. But yeah, we were always we're always up against Broad Ripple too. So yeah, I'm familiar with all of that. I just moved to Atlanta, Georgia. So everything I owned started up from scratch. Got my accounting degree and I worked for IBM and for AIG over those years. But when I started doing the filming, I want to get back to that. When I started doing the filming, I worked at Target. Wow.
See, that's great though.
I worked 5 a.m. to 10 a.m. because they only gave us like 5 hours a week.
Right.
And I'm just going to throw my little story out there since you asked that question. When I was filming my very first film, I was working at Target, working 25 hours if I can get more, yay. And then I lived in an extended stay hotel for the 3 years that I was filming all the films I were doing. I was married. My husband since have passed, but I was married, and we were just going through some difficulties because he wanted me to be a housewife. I wasn't a housewife kind of girl. But I did my best to try to be that housewife. But he supported my dream, but at the same time, some part of that kind of faded a little bit. We pulled it together towards the end, which was great. But somewhere in there, we did have our mixes, but also at the same time, we really got in tune with each other. But by that time, he had passed away. But he positioned me beautifully in a way where he allowed me to chase my dream the way I have done. And like I said earlier, having the 12 wise men stepping in and helping me learn more things, it was really helpful. And then, like I just said, I just did my due diligence. In that due diligence, I just had the strong dream. I knew and I know that this is God. Mm-hmm. And everything, I've done 33 short films, but I know all those short films are different genres that's trained me up to be able to do the bigger stuff that I'm about to start doing. And I believe in the relationships, and I believe some relationships are, seasonal, permanent, and I just allow them to be what they are, instead of trying to force anything. And I want us just to grow in this industry and show who we are, God's love.
That's wonderful. That's great. I mean, I think no matter what position you're in life, like you said, that definitely speaks volumes about how much you love doing film because of the things that you had to get through to get to that point. You did not let that deter you. And I think for Tanisha to hear those stories being so young, that's what it is. That's what loving film is that, you go through the trials and the tribulations and it doesn't stop you, from being who you need to be. And, like for you, like I was in Indianapolis, but that was, I didn't go into the film industry then because I was still very young, but at the same time, it really set a foundation as to the type of person that I was. And, when I came out here and started doing everything before I got married, my husband, like I said, he's in the industry too. And the problem was, I think for us at that time, my husband was very competitive. And he didn't like the fact that I was getting stuff. And, some people are that way, some people can handle it and some people can't, and I was even helping him get positions on shows, so he didn't like that, before I got married. So you have to make your choices. But I think that your story is so amazing, and I applaud you for, doing what you needed to do to get where you are. And some people can just do one movie, and you've done 33 projects. Some people can never get to that, and I think that's amazing. So I applaud you for being who you are and moving forward and being even more successful in what you want to do. And that goes for both of you, to do what you're doing, because you can only continue to go up. And that's how you have to do it. That's how you have to look at it,
Well, thank you. But I want to ping on some of the stuff that you said. Tanisha, I feel something where you're concerned, and that is that you have an old soul. You may be young, you may be a student coming out doing your thing, but I see coming from you is an old soul where there's so much history building on the inside of you towards your filming, to what you're going to be able to bring to screen and deliver. So that's the reason I can't look at you as young. I'm being serious, because I feel an old soul there, full of wisdom, ready to produce, direct, film, and bring forth more than one genre. To be honest with you, I see more than one genre for you taking place. So I hope that you will tie into not only me and Joyce, but go through some of the chat talks that I've already done, because there's a lot of them from Atlanta. You did? Because there's a lot of them from Atlanta. Get yourself connected with some of them, because they got some great things going, and they have beautiful hearts where they're willing to work with you, or at least guide you in some kind of way, so you can have an alliance of network to start building upon, that are seasoned, that can help you keep going, because you are going to need some folks.
I
and also that we'll like
Wait a minute, let her finish, Joyce.
HOM too.
Joyce, I apologize. Let her finish that sentence she was doing.
Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
I don't know if it was the most recent one you did, but I saw on another filmmaker's chat you had a fellow SCAD alumni on there as well. So I definitely plan on reaching out to him as well. So that's good. I saw that he was also in Atlanta too. Mm-hmm. So yeah, that's good. That's all I was going to say.
Yeah. No, that's fine. That's fine. I just wanted to kind of get that out because the time moves fast. We get to talking and having a good time together. Some things can be missed, and seeing that I'm the one throwing this together, I got to make sure everybody's point of view gets put across. So I want to go to the next question if we can, and that is kind of go off of a little bit of what Joyce said. How do you individually stay focused and in tune with your craft as well? Don't everybody talk at one time now.
How do you stay focused? For me, I just try to remember the end goal. Like I said, I have my 5-year goals, my 10-year goals, but I just have to remember there's really nothing else in the world that I want to do, at least at this moment. So for me, just remembering my end goal, remember my purpose in life, that's what kind of keeps me motivated and focused. It has been a little harder, staying focused with everything that's going on in the world right now, the protests and the rioting that's going on outside, and, COVID-19, we're fighting so many different wars right now. Yeah. So that can take a lot on you mentally, especially if you're just in the house. Like my classes are online until September. Even then, that's still kind of up in the air. So I'm just in the house, doing school. So it can take a lot on you mentally. But for me, I just always have to remember the end goal. Like I can't let that. It's okay to take time for yourself. If you need a day or two, a mental health day to kind of, just not do anything. But for the most part, I just try to remain focused just by remembering like what the goals that I have in mind for myself. So that's what keeps me focused.
That's beautiful.
For me, and I, it's like you said, this is what we do. So it's like I do this every day anyway, and it's part of my life now. So, like you said, whether it's keeping the lights on or paying the mortgage, it is being done through what we do. So that is what keeps me focused. And, and then I've had, some issues with my health and everything. And that has helped me to get a perspective too, to like not worry about don't sweat the small stuff and focus on the things that I really want to do with the rest of my life. Right. I've done a lot of things and I want to continue to do those things. And as Tanisha was saying, she wants to be doing this when she's 70 or 80. I mean, that's the way I feel as well. I want to go to my grave doing this. Right. And that's it. And that's all I want to do.
It's also important to, perfect your craft regardless of what's going on. So I find myself writing scripts, trying to perfect that. So just, doing little things, even if you see like a master class online, even with me being in grad school, I still try to find little workshops going on around Atlanta because there's so many of them, that just help me be better. Because like I said, there's so many things that you can learn. And the more you learn in this field, the more you realize you don't know. No matter what level you get to, there's so many more things that you can learn. So just taking that time to really perfect your craft, it really tells a lot about, what you love to do in your field. So that helps me as well.
That's true. And this industry is constantly changing and the technology is constantly changing. So you have to stay up on everything. That's like we were talking earlier about how we were saying how you have to cast, like you're casting online. I mean, just the way the camera equipment is, the editing programs, there's just so much that is changing and it keeps getting quicker and quicker. And you have to stay on it. So as you said, Tanisha, you can always learn something new. I never try to take the approach that I know everything because I don't. Because there's people that can teach me something that I didn't know and help me streamline what I'm doing. So you can always learn,
Absolutely. That is so true. And I'm learning from you guys right now today.
We're learning from you.
Well, thank you. With all the knowledge that you're sharing and the tips that you're giving. That's the whole ideal of this, because I learn from everyone as well as anyone that's watching. So I love this. I only have a couple of more weeks that I'll be able to do it. It's going to be coming to an end, so I will be missing it. But if I can work it in on other days, I will. But yeah, we got in on before I'm being called because we got to get back to studio work now and some editing that is required. But one of the things that Tanisha brought up and Joyce, you mentioned a little bit earlier, people working while they're doing this. Even though I shared that I worked at Target during the time on some of my filming, I also want to share, like, in this industry, sometimes as filmmakers, it takes a while for you to make money. Even though for actors, they want to get paid, but sometimes the filmmaker's not getting paid on their projects. Especially sometimes up front, sometimes the money don't come until the end. Sometimes there's no money at all. So when you come into the project and all you're thinking about is, how much money you're going to make, or are they going to pay me? Because, that's one thing that annoys me more than anything is, you asking me to cash you. And the first thing you want to ask me is how much I'm going to pay you. I'm already eliminating you for just asking me that question.
That's so true.
So let me just put that out there now for the actor that's trying to get into one of my projects. Don't ask that question. No.
No, but you're right. You're absolutely right.
And so what I wanted to share, because I don't know how much you all have come to learn, get yourself involved with other things that can help you make some money. There's voiceovers, because I do voiceovers, so I get paid for my voiceovers. So that's another way where you can make money, and you can make a pretty good chunk of change in voiceovers that you can turn over to invest in your film projects. The other thing that you could do is, you mentioned earlier, reading script. You can get in touch with like CBS, NBC, Fox, ABC. Right there on their page at the very bottom, it talks about the different links. They have links down there for things that they want to hire for. So look into that. You can get paid a pretty penny for just reading their script that they're trying to determine for the next season of their network or a feature film. And in addition to that, if that project script that you read turns into a actual project, you can either get a flat pay for that, or you can get a percentage pay for that, depending on what type of contract you negotiate upon. So those are some things I just want to put in your mind, to be looking at, how can you keep this business rolling and make some money at the same time without the job. Because when you love this, it's really difficult and very challenging to work a job, because your mind, while you working that job, trying to give attention, is on your film work. So that was something that I had to really learn and discover. What else can I possibly do? Because while I was at the job, I was writing my scripts. And behind me wearing, I would sometimes even, when I was at my job, I was in the bathroom sitting on the toilet, writing my script out or doing my breakdown of what I'm going to film. So I share that just to kind of put some nuggets out there of some different ideals, and this is not just for us, this is for actors too, diversify so that way you can make this work in the industry, because you've got big A-list stars, sometimes they manage their money well, sometimes they didn't get paid what their fellow actor may have got paid, so they're not really, they look in a position like they're making a lot of wealth, but they're really not. And that was a hard hit for me, because it's so glamorous and it looked like everybody's millionaires, but when you get in the real truth of it all, they're not millionaires. Alfred Woodfrey, one of the things she's done with her life is she's been in this business a lot of years. I don't want to put no number to it because I don't know. But she still lives in a modest home that she's been living in for the last 40 years. I do know that much, no matter how much money she's made or how many projects she's been in, she still lives modest. And so I'm just sharing those kind of things as we grow in this industry. And I'm going to say it, as Black people, because we have a tendency to, take money to be show-offs, get the jewels, get the diamonds, get, the big houses so that we can look successful. My goal is not to look successful. My goal is to be successful. And that's the seed plant that I hope that you get from this particular format that we're sharing today is don't chase the money. Stop chasing the money. Chase the dream, because the dream is real. Sometimes the money's right there immediately, but the money does come eventually. But if you're really in it for the real deal of what it is, stop chasing the money. Stop asking for the money. Well, don't go. Let me correct that. Ask for the money, but be respectful in the way you encourage for the money to come your way, because you may be asking somebody who's not in the position to give you money, but they might some point be in a position to help you grow in that area of fame. So, and I say that stop playing down student films and stop playing down independent films, because those films are your opportunity to hone in on your craft, to get the experience, to add it to your resume. And as your resume grow with whatever independent filming you do, is going to lead you into your SAG projects that's going to pay you. And then also get you growing on that list, whether it's going to be the A list, B list, whatever list you want to be on. So put this business in perspective and remember, it's an enjoyable industry, but it is a business. And you need to figure out a way for yourself independently how to treat it as an independence. Do your due diligence. Is there anything you want to add to that?
Yeah, I can definitely add to that because, as you were saying, you know, I while I was going to college, I worked a regular job, but I was fortunate enough, and I tell people this, you know, to get a government job because they pay very well and they pay your insurance and everything. So while I was going to school, I did that. But as you said, when I did start working in the industry for PBS initially, I worked for PBS and I still held my day job full time. And I would go the minute I would leave my day job, I would immediately go right over to PBS. And I actually worked in master control. So I had to do all of the programming for the whole night. So I had to sit in the control room. And while I was in there, I wrote on my script, as you said. So, you know, you're doing everything. And, you know, I worked through a lot of stuff. I lost my mother that year and I got a divorce the same year. So I just worked through all of that and just kept working. And I never gave up. And you know, things started to look up for me. But like you said, I didn't live off of the money I was earning at PBS. I used that money to fuel the other things I wanted to do. I earned my living with my government job, right? But then I started finally getting to the point where I was like, okay, if I'm going to do this, I got to throw myself into it 100%. So like when I did my very first documentary that I was mentioning, I bought a house, but I mean, again, and I'm kind of going backwards. So I'm sorry. When I was able to afford to purchase a home, it was because I had worked so hard that I got a job at E! Entertainment and BET at the exact same time. And I worked 7 days a week for 10 years, 7 days a week. But I bought my house before that time. I'm saying, but during that 10 years, I was able to do that. But I worked my butt off. I did not take vacations. I did not do anything. I worked. And I was able to use that money to purchase something. And then that purchase, I used money from my house to make my movies. It was like a tier for me.
Wow.
You know, but that's what I did, you know, and it helped. And like she said, being independent, or even if you get an industry film, you learn to utilize what you have. And I was finally able to let go of those things. But like it was not easy. But I loved every minute of it, though. That's the thing. You know, it wasn't like it was hard for me in terms of like, I hate doing this stuff. I loved not getting any sleep. I loved going from E to BET. And I loved it. And I loved working 7 days a week. I didn't have any kids. I didn't have any responsibilities. It was just me. So who cares? And I did what I needed to do. And I'm so glad I did it because I dedicated my entire life to what I wanted to do at that moment. And I still do, but now I've positioned myself a little bit better to not have to do all of that. But at the same time, I will do it again if I have to. you know. And as you said, getting jobs on the side and doing different things. Voiceover is a great opportunity. I was going to say to Tanisha, you know, a lot of people, especially filmmakers, need people to help promote stuff through social media. So if you want to get some extra money, you can help some of these independent people with their short films and their films, help them to promote their films, and they'll pay you. They don't have to pay you, you know, what you would make, you know, as a PR firm. But, you know, if they gave you a certain amount of money, they'd say, please get my film out there on social media, help them build a website, help them. Those are ways to make extra money while you're in school. And since, especially during COVID, because you don't even have to leave your house to do all that stuff.
I've already started to Google the voiceover work. I'm definitely going to look into that.
See, all of those things are great, you know?
Yeah, I'm going to look into all of that because, you know, the more I advance in the industry, the more I realize that it is important to have a job, you know, because like there are so many things that I want to do and so many things I want to invest in, you know, even when it's like getting a quality website or buying more equipment, you know, so it's like I want to have a job on the side, whether it's like in the industry or not, you know, so that I can kind of be where I want to be in terms of my equipment and just the tools that I have. So it's important to have a job for sure, or at least another source of income on the side until you are where you want to be. Definitely.
Absolutely. Told you was wise.
Yeah, yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, yes, ma'am. I saw the old soul up in there, girl. All righty. What advice would you give yourself knowing what you know now?
Be patient. You know, I used to have this mindset that everything had to happen overnight, and if it didn't, you know, I kind of wanted to give up, or I got, you know, what's the word, discouraged. But in this industry, it's so important to just be patient with anything in life. You know, even if it wasn't this industry, you know, they always say, like you said, there's no such thing as an overnight success. Most overnight success happens between 5 and 10 years. You know, the people that we see pop up on our timelines, these people have been putting in work for 10, 20 years. We're just now seeing them, so we think that they're an overnight success when they're not. So even with me being like only 3 years in professionally, I just have to remind myself like it's only been 3 years. Like, and then I'm still in school. Like, it's literally okay if you're not where you feel like you should be, which I don't know where I feel like I should be in 3 years. But to just, you know, just be patient, stay the course, do the work. Don't try to cut any corners, because I'm guilty of that as well. When I first started out, you know, I tried to go straight from, you know, my college town to LA, which I know is possible, but at the time it just wasn't feasible. So, you know, don't cut corners, do the work, stay patient. That's the advice I would give myself.
Good advice.
Yes, very good. I think for me, I just wish when I was younger, like, and that's a great question. As successful, and I don't even consider myself successful. I still consider myself grinding all the time, even though other people look at me and think I'm successful. I'm just like, no, I'm still working hard. There's still goals that I have not met and will continue to have to get. But if I could go back and give myself advice, I wouldn't be so scared of because there's so many opportunities that I had that I was right there in the room with people that, you know, there's just stories I can tell, but I was so scared and young, and my confidence in myself wasn't there, that I felt intimidated and I let certain situations go by. And I'm so fortunate that those situations did come back around. But at that moment, if I had been more assertive and more confident in myself, that who knows where I would be today, because I had a lot of really amazing opportunities that I let fall through the cracks because of my self-confidence. And I will never do that again. Wow. If I could go back, yeah, I would never do that again.
Okay. All righty. Well, I got just a few that I like to always share. These are reminders for myself. And one is, don't take yourself too seriously. Enjoy the journey and learn to just play at the same time of work. Don't believe in your own press as the greatest. A lot of people will praise you and tell you how awesome you are. Don't believe the press, because even though you are awesome, but don't believe it to the point that it goes to your head. Never allow your title to define you. Even though we get a lot of titles in this business, just don't let it define you. Be the one that defines who you are. Stay focused and in tune with your craft always. Sometimes we'll get so caught up in all the different things that we do, we forget what the main craft it was that we really came in to fall in love with. Let's see what else. Still got that. Don't take no for an answer. Never.
That's the number one thing. Say yes to everything.
And I do mean never. Even when it's a temporary no, in my mind, eventually that's going to become a yes. It may not become a yes through the person I'm looking for the yes from. I may have to go and create my own yes. And that's how I look at that. And then failure can be tomorrow's success. It's a circle. So you might fail at something today, but it might turn out to be a success later on. So don't badger yourself because something didn't work out the way you thought, because somewhere along the line, you can either revamp it, fix it, correct it, or make it better and bring it out then. Everything has its own time. And those are the things I tell myself to keep me in balance and in tune, so that way I just don't get caught up, because this is a fast-paced industry and it can sweep you like really up, just like you're in a tornado. And if you're not balanced in your thoughts, it can overwhelm you and you can lose yourself in this industry, because everybody, I don't care who they are, including yourself, has an expectation. And we have to figure out, what expectation we need to actually meet. And priority expectation is your own. That's what I would say.
It's funny that you said don't take no for an answer, because I started to read Shonda Rhimes' book, Year of Yes.
Yeah.
And it's amazing. So that would be a great book to read. Saying yes to everything, because she also felt, intimidated. She found herself saying no to every offer that she received. If it didn't have anything to do, even though some things would work, she felt like, oh, I don't know. But especially like when it came to like social events, she found herself just saying no to everything. So one moment she was just like, I'm going to say yes to everything. And that's the mindset that I've adopted as well in the past year.
Yeah, and that's really good advice, because I learned to say yes to everything before Shonda Rhimes' book. A gentleman that I met at a writing class, his name is Wesley Duarte, and is a white gentleman who I'm good friends with to this day. He's like a brother to me. But he told me, never take no for an answer, ever. Always say yes to everything. And that advice has been around for a long time, and I'm glad Shonda finally, when I read her book, I said, oh, she finally got that advice. It's the 10,000 hours from I forget the gentleman's name who wrote the book about 10,000 hours of once you get your 10,000 hours in, you become confident in what you do. But all those same mantras are part of all of that. So that's really good advice.
Yeah. Okay, let's get into some nitty-gritty before our time is up. And let's talk about the projects that you've done. And in the filming of those projects, share some of the experience that you had. Like when you made that project, it's become a reality for you. It's ready for distribution, or it's in distribution. Share the emotion that you felt. What did it do for you knowing that you actually made that accomplishment? And then share some of the journey, in writing the script. How much of that script is you? How much of the story is you? When you had to pick those actors, we're talking project specifically, because we've already talked about you and your process, your journey. We want to narrow it down to the project specifically. When you chose that project, A to Z, go.
Go ahead, Tanisha.
I threw up with that one on you.
For me, when my project was over, and it was in the process of getting distributed, I felt all the emotions like all day, especially with the day of the release. So I felt relieved. I felt nervous because I had so many eyes on me and my work. You know, people reaching out, hey, I'm looking forward to seeing it. What else did I feel? Anxious. But accomplished as well, especially once it was over. It was literally like all of those emotions in one day, in one weekend, really, because I believe that was a Sunday that they came out. So that entire weekend, I felt like it was a new feeling every hour, pretty much. But overall, I felt accomplished. What was the other question?
We're talking about the actual process of the filming, you know, your selection on who you're going to work with as the actor of those roles, the crew, if there was a crew, or did you do it by yourself? You know, tell a little bit about the journey putting the production together.
So putting that production together, luckily I kind of finessed my school assignment because it was a school assignment, but it was supposed to be, so we were supposed to do 3 films that quarter. So my film that I put out, it was at first a part 1 and a part 2. So my professor allowed me to basically use 2 assignments for 1 project, and my other classmates didn't think of that because I personally don't want to put out a 3-minute film. I don't want to do that. So that was 2 assignments that I did. We had to film over 2 weekends. This was supposed to be 3, but COVID came to be. And we also filmed at a restaurant. And luckily, you know, we had a free location. I'm super grateful for that. But they only allow us to film before the restaurant opened, which is completely understandable. But next time moving forward, I would only film if at a place if I can rent out the restaurant for the entire day, because it was a headache and we were trying to stretch it. We were like, okay, just give us, 30 more minutes. They have customers coming in, so that was definitely a learning lesson. As far as choosing the actors who I would want to be part of the process, a lot of the actors that I chose, I had already known from working on previous sets. So I had met them. Maybe I was working on a set for a fellow classmate or a friend and they were in their projects. So most of them I took out of their films. And other people, I've known them. One lady, I know her from high school, and she's an actor now, so I was able to recruit her. And everybody else, I just found them on the internet. It wasn't necessarily a hard process. And like I said, we have short turnaround times, so I had to kind of just roll with the punches and get who I can get. But they turned out to be like really amazing actors and actresses, and I'm super glad that I got the people that I was able to get. So that was great. The biggest lesson that I learned was, and I said this before, but you just have to remind people of their place in their roles. Because especially as a young woman filmmaker, people feel like they can kind of, step on your toes, and you have to remind them like, this is my film, this is my project, this is my vision. I appreciate you for working, with me and coming on board. But at the end of the day, I'm the person in charge, So you really have to remind people of their role, because that is a major issue that I had to deal with on set. Just everyone having an opinion when they're not supposed to. Like, just say your line and then that's it, So that was definitely one of the major lessons that I learned that I plan on carrying on with me. As I film more films, just making sure, people know their role, know why you're here, and that's it. And also, like I said, having more people to help, because I can't be everywhere at once, so having more PAs on set, and things of that sort. So.
Okay. That's good. I want to try something new to see if it's possible. The first thing is I've got yours, Tanisha, but Joyce, if you'd be willing to go and give me a link, inbox it to me to your movie. I'm not sure which one you would like to be seen, but I want to kind of put up a few minutes of it on the screen, if you don't mind. While I got a kind of like my favorite scene on Tanisha's. I want to pull up, and then if you would just bring up yours so that I can show a little bit of yours as well.
Okay, and I'm trying to think of being able to do that and to incorporate it into your.
Oh, all you have to do is send the link to me. I'll pull it up and I'll find the scene.
Okay.
Describe the scene for that you would like.
And I can do that through Facebook, right?
You could do that through Facebook. All you got to do is just put it in my inbox.
Oh, okay. So
Yeah.
give me
So
one
that way I
second
can
while
click
you
on the
do
link, go directly to the movie, and
it.
then if you have a certain marker on the movie you like me to show, then
Mhm.
note that in there so I know where to go to, like the time.
Oh,
All
okay. Because I was gonna say, if you want to, on your end, if you want to pull it up, it's already there. Under if you just Google Hidden Orchard Mysteries trailer.
Yeah, because I saw that, but all I saw was the commercial, 6-second commercial. So I didn't see the full.
Commercial. Then the actual trailer.
Uh-huh.
Huh? I'm surprised because the trailer should be there.
Yeah. So if you can go ahead and pull that link for me, and then that way when hers is done, I can show your portion. Fair enough?
Yes, very fair.
All right.
Go ahead.
Okay, here we go.
All right. I want to try to look at hers and
Okay, appreciate it.
go ahead.
All righty. Share screen. Hold on. Almost there. Tell me what you can see first. Can you see the screen?
No.
I don't see it either.
Okay, hold on. It's coming. I think. Hold on. I hit the button, but it's not doing it for me.
Okay.
My screen is freezing up. I think I may be doing too much. There we go. Hold on. Everybody trying to send me messages while I'm doing it. That's why. It's like, okay, so soon as I do this, you want to send me messages? Come on, y'all. All right, can you see the screen?
Yes.
Okay, perfect. Here we go. How's that? Can you see it? Because I can't see
Yes.
it before. Okay. All right, so now.
Where's this coming from? From the heart. I thought you knew. Kendall, you can't tell I'm in love with you.
Wait, in love with me? Nah, you can't do this.
I am.
Come on, let's get out of here.
I'm a first.
Boy, I would never give fake flowers.
Come on, don't do me like that.
It looks beautiful.
It is. It's a good short story. Hold on, apologize. My screen. I think I did too much on my screen, so it's like So hold on. Let's see if I can get this to go back over here. There we go, and almost there. There we go. Now, that I didn't want to do too much because I want them to go and watch it. But I wanted to put that little tidbit there for you so that way they can go to YouTube and pull that up. That's where I found it. And okay, now let's see. The name of the movie is They Love Me Not, in parentheses, Not. And it's a short film by Tanisha Bennett. Did I pronounce it correctly?
Yes.
And support her so that way she can get those views up and then get some promotion out there about her film. All right. And now, Joyce, have you sent me yours in the inbox yet?
I sent it to you in Messenger. So can you pull it up that way?
What do you mean by Messenger?
Under your Facebook. Under Facebook.
Oh, my inbox. Okay. That's good enough.
So I can see if it's there. But
yes, I got it. So now let me get Joyce film up. And while that's coming up, I want to hold on. You can already hear it, can you?
Yeah.
Okay. Is there a particular section that I should hit for you?
No, you can just show it and stop it when you want. Because there's no particular section. It's just a trailer. So I think it's like a
Oh, that's fine. That's fine. Oh, it's a 1-minute trailer. Okay. All right. I'll start it right here because she looks so cute doing this scene. All right, so let me pause that so that it start correctly. Turn on the sound so I won't forget. And now here we go. And this is going to be Joyce's film. So I'm gonna share the screen. Share the screen. All righty. And yep, that's a big space. That's why it's doing that. Hold on and bring this on and play.
Best inventory can be right up
Boom, there we go.
your noses.
Can you see
Girls, let me be the first
No.
to vote.
Yeah.
No, can't see it? Okay, hold on. Then I didn't do it right. Okay, hold on. There we go. And there we go. Play.
Torture is as simple as it seems.
Can you see it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're gonna sit there and tell me there's nothing strange about the Parkers break-in? Weren't they about to do that whole Airbnb thing? Notice anything special? I don't know what I'm gonna do with you. You're gonna help me figure out who did this. To get past me, you gotta be real good. I mean, I know everything that's going on in this neighborhood. Senor Sanchez. Isn't he the only one in this neighborhood who has access to everybody's house? We have Miss Jones, the HOA president. She hates all the Airbnbs popping up in the area. Then we have Miss Goop. Not a suspect. She lives in this neighborhood. That makes her a suspect. I'm just saying. What about the Perkins? Mr. Perkins? No. Mrs. Perkins. Maybe. What about Mr. Patrick's? I would think that he's too busy counting his own money to deal with petty crimes in our little neighborhood. He's some type of real estate genius or something. To solve this case, it's not going to be about what we know, but what we can prove.
Look, if you agree to let the police work be done by police.
Just be exactly what they see. Kid. The two greatest minds in the neighborhood. There's you. Then there's me. And together.
That was awesome.
Thank you.
That was awesome. And that was cool being able to do that. I love it. So that's the first time I was able to do the sharing of the screen. So thank you for blessing me to be able to do that. Anything you want to share about your two projects before we call this to an end? Because after this, I want you to share your contact information, how you can be reached out. So in the meantime, while you're talking, if you can send me or post your link so that I can share the link.
The only thing I wanted to say about and Tanisha, your project looked really good. I can't wait to watch it. It looks really good, and your actors looked good, and it's definitely very, very a rom-com type of feel to it. I can't wait to watch it. And with mine, I loved doing it, and I just so people know, Hidden Orchard is a real place. That's the street that I grew up on is actually Hidden Orchard, and the young African American girl was me. As a kid, always overly curious about the neighborhood and everything. So that was fun. It's like living, vicariously through the film again. So it was a fun project to do, and hopefully families enjoy it.
Absolutely. Okay. And Tanisha?
Mm-hmm.
My project, it was so much fun to do. Even though we had to split up the days and the issues with the restaurant and the hours, like, outside of that, it was so fun to do. That was the biggest, cast and crew that I've been over, especially like being so early in my career. It was at least 30 of us. So it was challenging at first, but it was very rewarding. So yeah, just make sure you go check it out on YouTube. They Love Me Not, under the Fat Network.
Okay. Now, do you have any alternate projects that you do actually on Facebook that you would like other people to know that you're doing?
On Facebook? I haven't posted any other projects on Facebook, no.
Okay.
Well, I have several films that are just out, like I was mentioning, but that people can access them from Facebook, and then they can go to the websites. The Color Medicine, as I mentioned, it has its own website, and so does Hidden Orchard. Also, the film I was talking about, Discovering Mary, that's also on Facebook. And just if you go in, you'll be able to tell it's just different projects. But those are it for now. But, a bunch of other projects are coming down the pipeline. And my company is called flatcat-productions.com. And if you go to the website, you'll be able to see some of the other projects that I'm working on.
Okay, perfect. All righty. And now I want to go ahead and post up. Now, I don't have you guys, what do you call it?
IMDb or something?
No. Well, IMDb is great. I was going to say your Instagram.
Okay.
So I'm Only thing I have is the Facebooks, which I just post up for you. So that way they can get those to be able to reach out to you. You can also go by their names as well and Google them. They both have their name up there for you to take a look and Google them, get more information about these amazing filmmakers. I really just want to say thank you to you both for sharing in this conversation chat talk with me. I've enjoyed every breath of it. You've shared so much, and I've been getting like little messages on the sideline, just sharing, talking about how great this session is. They're really excited about it. Now, who's the stylish producer? Oh, that's Tanisha. Okay.
I was the link in the right spot.
Yeah, I just look, I'm still learning this thing too. So I just saw that. So I am going, hold on, I am going to put that up there as well. Do you do a lot of activities on Instagram at all? Or are you just kind of?
Honestly, Facebook isn't the best place to reach me. You can reach me through there. I'm just not as active on it. But Instagram or even I can also put my email as well. But Instagram and email are like the best places to find me.
I have all that too. Did you want me to send that to you? Because it's my Instagram. And then all of our movies, I sometimes don't necessarily need people to reach out to my personal Instagram, but all of my movies have their own Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook social handles. Like
that's the main thing on how they can better reach out to you is the main thing. Yeah.
That would be on Twitter, it's producer Joyce. And then on Instagram, it's Fitzpatrick Joyce.
I don't think all that went together. Oh, no, keep going. I was trying to do this editing on here, but it's not letting me separate it. So I was trying to separate it.
Oh, it's okay.
No, keep talking. You're good.
Oh, no, I was just saying, yeah, that's with my Instagram handles. And then for the film, if they're interested, it's Orchard Hidden. And that's for the movie Hidden Orchard. And the color medicine is and then _color_medicine_.com or whatever. And they'll be able to find it. Like you said, if they actually Google the titles of the films, all of those social handles come up anyway. It's so difficult to try to remember all of them. But my personal Instagram is Fitzpatrick Joyce, all in lowercase.
Okay, now if you will type that in for me real quick, I'll copy and paste it.
Okay.
You see where it says private chat? You can type it right there, and then I can copy paste it and put it in for them to post that for you, so that way they'll have that information for you.
My email is thefadnetwork@gmail.com without the N at the end. So just thefadnetwork@gmail.com. And then also Instagram.com/thefadnetwork. That's where you can see the rest of my films. And then Instagram.com/thestylish producer. That's my personal Instagram.
Okay. It's at producer.
You said the Fad, I believe. I think you just gave me all of that. So let me see how that works. There it is.
Okay.
Did I do it right?
So
twice. I got it on there twice. I was trying to get. Okay, I didn't know I'd already grabbed it, so that's good. Okay, so there you go for yours. So there you go. And now you just sent me yours.
And then I'll send you just a link to my website, so people want to see projects there, they can go directly there.
Okay.
Well. And I just sent that.
All righty. Hope that's me.
But we're actually, I was going to tell Tanisha, because we filmed Hidden Orchard in the city of Fayetteville. So we're actually developed a relationship with the city, and we should be, at this point, we're in development / pre-production, because we already know we're going to shoot the second film there as well. So we're in the process of finishing up the script so that we can, because what we do is we come down and then we scout and we do everything and kind of set all of our shots up and everything, because we're working with Pinewood Studios, so they have been amazing with giving us all of our equipment and everything through a company called EBS. And so we're working with those same people again. And the only reason I'm mentioning it to you and to you, Tony, Tony, is that I want to be able to, if you guys want to, work on the project, if there's, room, I would love to have you guys join me. Or if you guys are busy on your own projects and you just want to come by the set, you can do that too.
Well, I am not in that state. I mean, that city.
I don't know why I was thinking you were.
I'm like 5 hours away.
Oh, well then, yeah. But, so you're a little too far.
I'm a little too far.
Yeah, but still, hopefully I can, talk to you while I'm down there. But for Tanisha, if you're closer and if you want to come on set, you're more than welcome. I look forward to meeting you in person. And there you go.
Okay. All right, then, ladies, we are going to bring this to an end. Thank you for allowing me to share a little bit of your talent, skills, and your journey with the people that are watching us, and a little bit of your movie. And we got your contact information there for you, Joyce, now, for people to reach out to you. I will do some downloading of this to YouTube. I have a YouTube page, and I'll just go ahead and just throw a little bit of my little information up there. But I have a YouTube page under my name. I do everything film producer Tony Brown, just to try to keep it simple and not trying to track me down. All my social, Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook is all film producer Tony Brown. So we keep it simple. Under that, you can go to Amazon, type in Tony Brown, and it'll bring up all the films that I've got on Amazon. And just, just Google me. I'll keep it simple. Just Google me. I'm under Tony Brown. Again, it was a pleasure, ladies. Thank you for agreeing for doing this with me. I wish you all great success and blessings in all your endeavors and journey. Just stick with it. Don't let nobody kill the dream. That's what I got to say. And as ladies, I'm going to give us that last tip. Keep the feelings in. Don't be expressing all those feelings.
That's right.
Thank you.
Yes.
And the same blessings